Welcome to the Next Dimension Podcast, your portal to an extended reality. Every week we talk about the hottest topics in XR and let you join the discussion live on MRTV. And now, get ready for another exciting episode coming up.
Hi, welcome to episode 13 of the Next Dimension Podcast, your new podcast that's all about virtual reality and also augmented reality in the future. Today, a very special episode with a very special guest, with Artur Sychov, the founder of Somnium Space, the virtual world. Hi, Artur, how are you doing today?
Doing amazing. Thank you for having me. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, I have a good feeling about this. And also here with us, Gary Walkton, the author of Memory Engine and Irregular here on the Next Dimension Podcast. Gary, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yep, thanks. Good to be back.
Oh, yes, great. After last week, right? So, yeah, it's
exactly.
Great.
Yeah,
it's great
earlier than usual.
It's great to have you. Perfect. And also with me, Sebastian, the founder of MRTV and the host of this show. And I'm also doing really good. I'm really looking forward to today's show. So for all of you who don't know the show yet, this is a podcast that is live streamed every Saturday at 9 p.m. Berlin time, 8 p.m. London, noon in San Francisco, and 3 p.m. in New York City. And we're also on all the podcast providers as an audio podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Alexa, all the good stuff, right? So, and if you love this podcast, you can do us one favor, and this favor would be to open your podcast app on your iPhone or iPad right now in the beginning of the show, and please do look for the Next Dimension Podcast and do leave us a good review if you like this show. Today, we're going to talk about lots of exciting topics. We're going to talk about the HTC hardware that was announced. Unfortunately, it's not a standalone headset. That's what we had been hoping for, but we got some trackers and some facial tracking device instead. And well, that is very interesting, especially for social VR, right? Like for social VR worlds like Somnium Space, VR Chat, and all these different kind of worlds. And I'm so glad that we have Artur here, who is really the specialist in this. So we're going to find out in which direction all these social worlds will go. Also, we're going to talk about the VR headset, the Apple VR headset. There's some new rumors or some new, actually, some reports from analysts that are very trusted that say that the device is going to cost $1,000 and not $3,000. So lots of interesting things. And then we're also going to talk in depth about Somnium Space. What is it? What is the difference as compared to other VR worlds? What is the blockchain? and how does it all go together? Yeah. Artur, you have lots of things to talk about today. It's a super exciting topic and probably actually something new for lots of the VR fans, right? Because, well, your platform, it does VR, of course, but it's also connected to blockchain and crypto, right? And for lots of people, that is still very new. And hopefully today they will get to understand it a bit better. Very, very much looking forward to that. Yeah. Right. Before we get to all the topics, I would like to normally simply know how the weeks were, the last weeks. And I think it's a great chance to get to know Artur a little bit more. So, Artur, how do your weeks normally look like now that you are the founder and CEO of a VR world? What is your day-to-day work? What are you doing?
Right. So basically, the work time is every day from maybe like 9:30 till 2 to 2:30 a.m. in the morning. And it's starting the morning with a call with the dev team, checking out, what are we doing, which kind of tasks have been done, what is the status for every different module and task we're actually developing right now. Checking the Discord and answering some questions to the community. We have great community managers, but still, checking what's happening, what happened during the sleep, who is doing what. Also checking Somnium Web, making sure that everything works. Chatting again with developers, and business calls as well. So in between the cross reality Zoom calls, which I do from Somnium, to talking with developers and checking all the social media, also doing some social media stuff. So all those kind of things in one continuous motion, let's call it. Of course, we have daily meetup in Somnium, and I have been there. We do it already for a year, and I've missed only those days when I was ill. Other than that, I'm there every day.
Wow.
With the community, and I love it. Like, it's not that I have to do it; I love it. So we are hanging out with community, planning events, doing some stuff, streaming. So yeah, lots of cool things. I mean, I'm blessed that I can do, that I can call Somnium my work, because I just love doing it. And that's how it is.
Cool. So you're not getting bored, obviously.
Not really.
As a founder in a
Not
VR
really.
startup, it's like just working and working.
As the founder, you're a cleaner, a CEO, and a secretary, and everything in one person. So
You're
yeah,
right.
it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So how many people are working with you on Somnium?
So right now it's around about 10 to 12 people, depending. Sometimes
Okay.
we also work with contractors as well, and we have the decentralized team all over the world. But yeah, it's right now it's actually 12 people, and we're hiring VR devs. So if you are a cool VR developer or by any chance blockchain developer, you should definitely contact us on Discord or Twitter.
Okay. Cool. It means like you're growing right now. I mean,
We
even
are
like.
we're
Yeah.
going to grow this year a lot.
Wow, that's great. I mean, even 10 or 12 people is already quite a big number for a VR startup, right? It's quite something there that you have to deal with every day.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's it's a designer, it's developer, VR developers, blockchain developers, and that it's already a team for sure.
Right, that's cool. So, other than working on your Somnium worlds, do you still have time to enjoy some other VR game, or are you checking out the other worlds? Are you in
Definitely,
VR chat?
definitely.
Are you in
Yeah,
Altspace?
definitely do. Yeah, I do visit Altspace. I'll do visit VR chat mainly. I do play some games like Population 1, for example, just a bit. Sometimes table tennis and Oculus Quest. But to be honest, if I do go to some other social VR worlds, I do it for research and development purposes mainly.
Okay.
Just to have a look, what changed with the new updates and stuff. And rarely I do play other VR games. I always try something if there is a lot of good reviews about some game. I try it.
Right.
Just for to see the mechanics, to see the visuals, to always stay up to date. But other than that, not so much time to play actually a lot of games. So yeah, that's maybe a little bit of downside.
Yeah, right. But well, you play one game all the time, which is your own, and there's also games within
Correct.
Somnium
Correct.
Space now, right? People
Correct.
can make their own games, and people can play games that you offer. These kind of things,
They
right?
cannot do their own games yet, which is
Okay.
coming very soon. But they can play games which we have, like a shooter, for example. So basically, we have a Population 1 inside Somnium. You can fly and shoot and do hide in your own parcels and things like this. It's like a huge world and open for shooting out there.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
what we do.
I'm looking forward to talk about Somnium Space later in today's show. Since we have you, we're going to definitely try to understand it way better. And yeah, thanks so much, first of all, for this. And Gary, how are you? How have you been doing?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good this week. Yeah, it's not been a big gap since last week, has it? Since I was last on the show.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Cool.
Yeah, not too much has changed really. This week I've really been playing not too much VR, but when I've gone in there, it's been Elite Dangerous. I've been getting back into Elite Dangerous again. So I've been doing a little tour of Sol, our solar system, and just going from planet to planet in that really. So I've I just like Elite Dangerous. I like just relaxing in there, honestly, not even doing a lot, not even doing missions or anything like that. I just like it's a great little escape. It's a great little relaxing escape, honestly. But other than that, not too much this week. It's just been a general normal week work, and now here I am back again.
Perfect, man. So great to have you here. And today, actually, you are mirrored in the right way. Last show we mirrored you, yeah, but now this is actually the way how you look like.
Yeah, I can't understand. I can't make head nor tail of how this Logitech stuff works.
Yeah,
This
right.
Logitech capture, then Skype flips it, then Logitech flips it back. I don't
Yeah,
know. But anyway,
it's strange.
hopefully this is
This is
people
how
more-
you actually
we-
look like.
Yeah, there were people in comments that mentioned actually last week that things didn't look right, and yeah, I think when I'm flipped, I just look a bit odd. Maybe I don't know.
Perhaps, yeah. But now you are flipped in the right way. Yeah, cool. Great. Thank you, Gary. For me, I must say, last week, what did I actually do? Well, I did lots of live streams because I want to keep tab on what's going on with HTC, right? I was getting excited about these HTC teasers because lots of people thought that what they were teasing is indeed like a new standalone headset, and actually there is going to be a standalone headset from HTC. That's what the president, Alvin van Gralen, he actually said it in an interview, right? But then we all thought what they would be teasing would actually be that headset, but then it turned out it's something else. It's a tracker and it's the facial tracking interface. So I was kind of busy keeping tabs on this and making live streams about that. And in the end, well, it turned out it is not a standalone headset. Yeah, that's what I was busy with, basically. And then some other things. I'm working on some more things behind the scenes, a nice website for MRTV. So yeah, all of this goodness will be coming up really, really soon. Yeah, and now I'm looking forward for today's show. And let's talk. Let's talk about some interesting things that were going on. Let's first talk about some news, some smaller news, and then we'll get to the bigger news, and then we'll go into social VR worlds, all the differences to Somnium Space, all the stuff that's there. It's a super exciting topic, and it's so cool to have you here today, Artur. So let's start with the smaller topics, and one of the smaller topics is the following. So let me just make my screen a bit bigger here. Wait one moment. So I think now people should be able to see my screen. Let me check it. Yes. Oculus. Oculus is a big company. Anyone? Yeah, great news, right? Okay, that's the news.
Wow.
No, yeah, wow. That is great. And even a bigger company is Facebook. And Facebook, according to a report from The Information, is supposedly employing 10,000 people who are working on AR and VR only. Wow, that is huge. What do you have to say about this number? 10,000 people who are only working on AR and VR. That is 20% of the whole Facebook workforce. So 1/5 of them are dedicated to work on VR and AR. That's pretty crazy, right? And shows their commitment.
I think I just hardly believe that that's like, okay, I think it's true, but I think it's not what we all think it is. So you could definitely put all the people who are working on AR filters for their Facebook app
Right.
as
Agreed.
the AR VR, and that would
Agreed.
be like 500 people right there. So I think definitely some way or another they're touching this topic of AR and VR, but I think the core teams who are working on actual VR headsets, actual VR experiences, actual social VR experiences and other things which we imagine, like research and development, I'd say it's much smaller, which is fine. But I would say it's much smaller. I would say maybe it's like 1/10 of what is reported, and the rest is touching upon VR, AR somewhat, but it's not their direct core, business, what they're doing day to day. So no, they're not wearing, like 10,000 people are not wearing VR headsets every day or AR headsets every day in Facebook. That's just my guess, but I might be wrong.
What do you think, Gary, about this number?
Well, you've just ruined it, Artur, because I was expecting 10,000 people to be working full time on AR. But I agree. I think you're right, actually. Yeah, it makes sense that they're sort of working on the periphery on related technologies, perhaps, and related social elements of this hardware as well. So that all makes sense. I think the number itself is impressive anyway, and it sort of shows a level of commitment to AR and VR kind of technology going forward, because I think it's clear to see that Facebook see it as being very important in the future for their business as it grows, and it makes sense. I think other companies that we'll get to, like Apple as well, they see it as a central pillar in their business in the next few years. So this number of people simply reflects that, in my opinion. So yeah, it's, this number, putting this number out there, it generates quite a few headlines, and it generates quite a lot of confidence in the technology as well. So I think that's important for people that are not yet looking at this as any kind of viable technology for the future, or perhaps gimmicky technology for the future. I think that shows a level of commitment, and then the headlines show a level of confidence as well in it. So it's good. It's good news.
Agreed. And I absolutely think it makes sense, because what Facebook has done, they have missed mobile phones. They have totally missed this kind of medium, right? So right now they are a bit dependent on Apple with the iPhone and on Google with the Android operating system for their app, right? For their Facebook app. And we have recently heard about how they were struggling with Apple, because Apple wants to change some privacy settings where some cookies will not anymore be able to be traced by Facebook, by the Facebook app. And Facebook is trying to not let that happen. But it just shows how dependent they are right now on Apple and on Google, right? With on the mobile platforms. So they do not want to miss the next platform. The next big platform, obviously, I mean, I think all of us agree, is spatial computing, is VR and AR. That's the big thing. In probably 5 or 10 years, it's not this smartphone anymore. It's just everything is in my glasses here, and it's going to be pretty amazing. And that's why Facebook is throwing their money at it. And that's why they say, okay, we want billion people in our platform. That's why they put so much power into this. That's why they have a $299 Oculus Quest 2. And this number, it also shows, yes, they are serious about it.
I think Mark is obsessed with to be able to break up from those guys and to own his own platform, because he, as you said, he just is dependent on them. And that also, one of the proof is that they knew that the backlash about the login for Facebook into Oculus will come immediately, and yet they still did it. It just shows two things, to me at least, that A, they're scared because they want to lock people as soon as possible until it's too late, and B, that they want to have the platform. They want to have a control over the platform, which is a bad thing ultimately for every person to be locked into some platform, one or another. But that's what's happening. That's the big play for the next maybe 15 years.
Agreed.
It's kind of scary that because you're right, Facebook will want to lock people into their platform. Then the other main competitor that we're going to hear about later on is Apple. They're going to want to lock you into their platform as well. It is going to be this kind of thing. It'll be interesting when we talk about Somnium Space, actually, because of the decentralized method that you're going for with that. But we'll get onto that. It was just something that popped into my head there.
Exactly. That's going to be really,
the change
really
is coming. There's a tsunami, which even the biggest companies, even if they see it, they don't do anything about it. And that tsunami will completely change the landscape within the next 10 years. Everything will change, and they don't understand it. And that is amazing. That's just great.
What are you talking about? Like blockchain or?
Yeah, I'm talking about blockchain, decentralizing all the experiences, a complete loss of a control of a single entity over the data and user ownership of anything digital. So that is happening, and that will accelerate dramatically. We are now in infancy, but that infancy is accelerating so dramatically that those companies, it's a normal cycle, and that cycle is coming. And when you put things and that's just not related. I'm not saying it because I'm doing Somnium or something, but I'm just saying it because I truly believe in what we do. And when you put decentralized things like ownership and economy together with VR, with the next, social platform for humanity, that is extremely powerful. Like, I don't know about you, but if you tell me today, Artur, here is the VR headset, which is a standalone. It's a great headset. It's on par with Oculus Quest, with all the, with the resolution, with features, and it can do things. But it's an open platform. I'm ready to pay $1,000 easy today, and I would ditch Oculus, not even thinking about it anymore. So that is, and I think I'm not alone with this. So that shows you that the change.
I'm in too.
Exactly. So that shows you that the change is coming, and the change is probably unexpected for many companies, and that's beautiful.
That's great, but that's really amazing, and I'm very, very interested in blockchain in general. But I really believe that at this moment, not many people get it, get what it means. Like, okay, everything is going to run off the blockchain. It's going to be decentralized. Nobody has the power to block something. I think it's so beautiful, but at this moment, it's so in its infancy, right?
Yeah,
it's just now happening.
Know what it is,
and it's great. Later in today's show, we're going to talk a bit more. What does it mean? Okay, it's decentralized. It runs on the Ethereum blockchain. What does it mean, right? We're going to get into that later, and it's going to be super exciting. That I can tell you already for all the people who are watching this live right now. Yeah, cool. And yeah, exactly. I agree with you guys. So Facebook's trying to lock people in. Then soon, Apple is going to try to lock people into their ecosystem, into their walled garden. But, well, I must say I prefer the walled garden of Apple because their business model is not going to be to get to know me and to sell me ads. It's just a different business model. And then we have to see who prefers what. And it's going to be interesting. Yeah, very, very cool. But we can tell Facebook is super serious about this new platform, VR and AR, spatial computing, and they're throwing everything at it. Well, it's good on the one hand because also it's great for developers. They can make money with the Quest 2, right, by developing games and stuff. And that's what we heard last week when we had the developer of Ancient Dungeon here. It was very interesting. So yeah, lots of good things and also some bad things. Anyways, let's go to the next topic. We're going to talk about this whole decentralization thing later in the later part of this podcast. Going to be super exciting. Also, now we have another little Oculus news, and this is about the GDC showcase on 17th of March 2021. And Oculus announces 2 sponsored sessions at GDC showcase next week. So we're going to have 2 sessions. The first session is the future of gaming, quality and connection. And the second one is Squad Up, social and multiplayer in VR with Population 1. And, well, even though these have nothing to do with hardware, still it could happen that they do talk about their hardware. Because on GDC, they did talk about hardware things before. I was at GDC 2019 when we still could travel and do fun things in the outside world. And actually at GDC 2019, they were showing the Rift S for the first time. And I can remember I tried the Quest for the first time. I met Anthony, who could make it today for the first time. It was a great GDC. And yeah, who knows what's going to happen at this GDC? Do you guys think they could show off something new, like a Quest Pro, or even probably give a hint at the Quest 3? What do you think is going to happen?
I don't expect to hear any big announcements on this one, to be honest. It's interesting who's speaking, though. So at that first event you mentioned there, Sebastian, it was, I think Jason Rubin is speaking there.
Right.
But also they've got a couple of developers. So you've got Denny Unger, and then another developer is there as well speaking. And to me, from the descriptions of both of these talks, it looks like more low-key kind of affair, sort of halfway between like the Quest 2 and whatever comes next. This is sort of an update in between on software, and probably there are future visions of certain things. So I don't expect to hear any big announcements this time, but I am going to, read the highlights, I guess. I won't watch it live or anything, but I'll read the highlights of that one.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. So, Artur, do you miss going to exhibitions?
Look, some I do, like VR days, for example. But honestly, it was on one hand, yeah, of course it's bad what's happening in the world, because like having just freedom to go to things and have some events, it's amazing. But generally speaking, like VR, it just proves that, the more you use VR, the better you understand that it can replace for many people those missing social interactions which they have. And not because of COVID, like some people in remote parts of the world, or in parts of the world which are not that wealthy as, Western Europe or just West in general. So for them, having $100, I'm extrapolating to the future, but having $100 headset which can do some social VR and, which can replace them, then can work. Like it can work. Like when we are hanging out in Somnium for disco nights, there are people from all over the world, but we're like dancing in the same music live together, and it works. So on one hand, yes, I'm missing it. On the other hand, it's much more effective to work online in 3D environments and to do some other things. So there are cons and pros for sure.
Right, right. I also think actually it does work quite well in virtual reality, or just digitally. It doesn't have to be in virtual reality, right? You can have some nice video cast and chat rooms and stuff. And actually it works quite okay, I must say. And it just shows that you can save lots of money as well, not having to travel to these places. But I agree, it's fun to meet in Amsterdam, right? At VR days, it's great to meet the whole VR family there and meet them in real. That's of course great. And I'm still looking forward to that. But it can also work like that. I'm still missing that convention or this exhibition which is completely in VR, where you would walk through like a virtual exhibition hall, right? Where you have these exhibits, and then really the exhibitors are standing at this virtual kind of stands or booth, and then really that you really have this kind of experience, right? What do you think, Artur? Could this happen? Could you make this happen in Somnium?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you go to Somnium right now, like all those land parcels where people build their own things, this is like the whole Somnium is like one huge exhibition of what people are willing to show to you and what they are building. Now, we had something like that already last year during the Burning Man. When the Burning Man was running, we had our own base reality event happening in Somnium, and we had at least I think 25 parcels were involved from the community. Where live shows were happening, live concerts, discos, and things all at the same time. So in principle, technologically, it is possible. Of course, it is still, not everyone will be able to go to a virtual reality, with a VR headset and go around and just enjoy that. So I'd say right now the best possible experience if you want to do a conference or an exhibition is kind of like this cross-reality thing. You just do something on a video conferencing software, but do breakout sessions in those VR spaces, maybe in the browser spaces, and that will bring to people the sense of 3D environment, but also will keep focus on the actual message, because you don't want to miss some cool presentation because you were slow enough to go to some place or things like that. You just want to listen to that cool presentation, write down some notes, but then you want to have fun with people exploring some other things. So I think the mix is still the best possible way. But within like 2-3 years, I think it will be very normal to go to a VR exhibition, like fully VR exhibition, without any other option.
That's going to be exciting. But I totally agree with you. It's like this mix is perfect. Watching those talks as a webcast, and probably even not live, right? Also later perhaps. So it's really good. And then meeting up with some people in a VR world, that is already happening right now, and that is a cool thing. All right, let's go to the next it's already a bit of a bigger topic here, and it is trackers, not the HTC ones yet. Now we're going to talk about the Tundra Trackers. So Tundra Labs is a company that is doing Steam VR accessories, and they are going to start a Kickstarter. And in this Kickstarter, they're going to offer these Tundra Trackers. This product is the competitor to the HTC Vive trackers, and the advantages of this tracker is that it's quite small. It's smaller. It's definitely smaller than the Vive Tracker 2.0 that I'm showing here now in the picture, but even smaller than the new Vive Tracker, the Vive Tracker 3.0. And another advantage is that each tracker doesn't need its own USB dongle. For the HTC trackers, each HTC tracker needs its own dongle. So if you have 5 trackers, you will need 5 USB ports, and each USB port has this dongle which connects to one tracker. For the Tundra Tracker, you have different kinds of dongles. You have dongle A, B, and C. Dongle A can connect to one device. Dongle B can connect to 3 devices. I think dongle C can connect to... No, you have 4. You have one dongle which can connect to 3 devices, and one dongle that can connect to 5 devices, and one dongle that can connect to 7 devices. So you don't need to put in like 7 USB dongles if you have 7 devices there that you want to track. And that is pretty good. And the more trackers of these Tundra Tracker you buy, the cheaper is it going to be as compared to the Vive Tracker 2.0 and to the Vive Tracker 3.0. And the whole thing is smaller. Yeah, pretty interesting. What do you think? Gary, have you ever used those? Have you ever used trackers?
No, I've not, because of the price of them. I mean, I am
Right.
sort of semi-interested in trying some kind of body tracking and that kind of stuff. I think that will be a great thing to try. The utility of it at the moment, there's not a great deal of software out there that supports it and that kind of stuff. So you really need like a few of these trackers to make, like 2 or 3 trackers minimum to make body tracking better than it otherwise would be. So I've never tried one. The price of these is a little bit more expensive than I think they initially said it would be. I think they were aiming for something like $50 per tracker. And now I believe the price has been revealed to be $95 per tracker.
Right.
This dongle thing's great though, because I don't understand why that dongle thing was an issue in the first place anyway. With Vive trackers, do I understand it correctly that you need an independent single dongle for every single tracker you get?
You have 5 Vive trackers, you have 5 USB dongles that you have to put inside your computer.
That's insane. Yeah, that's crazy. The other thing I wanted to quickly mention on this, I don't know if you guys saw it. Oh, maybe I'm sure we didn't discuss it last week. It was the Stonks thing. This
Right.
other company that is doing a body tracking solution. It's not as accurate. It's not as accurate as having actual Steam VR Lighthouse tracked trackers. But this has a single beacon, and then passive trackers, and it's $80 at the moment with two trackers and a single beacon. But it's only 180-degree body tracking at the moment. They are releasing another one later on, which will be double the price, and it will have 360-degree body tracking. So these trackers that they have, they're passive. They don't have any electronics in them at all. They're sort of reflections, and the beacon, which is connected via USB to your PC, is what actually tracks them.
I'm showing it on the screen right now.
Yeah,
Exactly. So that is actually amazing, I think, because it's cheaper, first of all, and then those clips, those discs that you connect to your body, they don't need any battery, right? Because it simply reflects the light, and that's it. So this can run forever.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, it's not as accurate. So it's not as accurate as Vive trackers
sub-centimeter. It's still okay.
Yeah,
it's
still
not
good
sub-millimeter.
enough,
But it's good enough, right? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Something to look out for. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that one because that to me was just a fantastic idea for a product compatible with Steam VR as well. It's a different way of doing it. It doesn't use the base stations, but it's a great idea.
Agreed. So, Artur, I think especially for your line of business, social VR worlds, I believe trackers are important, right? Do people use trackers for Somnium already, or how
So right now we're working on the support for full body tracking. It's coming probably within a month out. We'll be also releasing soon, hopefully the lip tracking. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
I think there are they're extremely important. They're not used that much, but the number of people and like some very specific communities are forming around, around that way of expression, and it adds a lot. Like I've tried them several times, I used them several times, and they do add a lot of immersion into how you can express. Like, like we always say, once we introduce trackers, full body tracking in Somnium, like discos will never be the same, and that's true, right? Because suddenly you'll be able to express yourself better. So we have like gesture animations already support, so you can like express your avatar with like blinking and being serious and stuff. But of course, this is like next level. And when you connect everything together and you click all those things together, then you're coming to a very interesting point where it's even harder to distinguish like what's real, what's not. Like, how do you feel about talking to a person? Like, I already have friends in VR whom I've never seen in real life, but I'm sure I would recognize them just by the way how they move their controllers, move their hands, right? How they look, how they turn their head, and things like that. So definitely, this is like a muscle memory in your brain. But if you add trackers into that and facial expressions, yeah, that's of course is the future. So I think I'm not sure like who will win this game in terms of which company will do trackers. I think the company which is right now coming on the Kickstarter, promising. I think, and we'll discuss it when lip tracking thing for Vive. But I think like closing down the system and trying to force people to buy your hardware to do this tracking, probably not the best way to do things. But who knows? There'll be a lot of competition in that, of course.
Yeah,
which
right.
is good.
Yeah.
For consumer, it's perfect.
For consumer, that's great that there's some competition going on and the prices are probably going to go down. And what's also interesting right now, it seems if you want full body tracking, you absolutely need Steam VR because there's no other chance to make it happen, right? The Vive trackers work with Steam VR, then these Tundra Trackers work with Steam VR, even this Stonks from the Swedish teenager.
Yeah, Steam VR.
Also
the other,
Steam VR. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you actually, Sebastian, sorry
Yep.
to interrupt, but there is
No
that
problem.
Connect solution as well. I don't know
Right.
how that works, but that you can set up a Connect where you can do body tracking with that, I think in VR chat as well.
Exactly, yeah. And you can do it with some special software, and then also that is Steam VR.
Oh, it's still Steam VR.
Yes,
Okay,
everything
right,
is
okay.
always Steam
Still
VR.
goes through that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. So at the moment, if you want to have full body tracking, if you really want to dance with your feet moving, then absolutely you have to do Steam VR. It would be great if there was a standalone headset that could somehow do it, right? That could somehow have it with this kind of full body tracking and where you could dance and do all kinds of cool things. But well, seems like we still have to wait a bit. Yeah, and Artur, you're right. This is going to be crazy, the disco stuff that's going on. I was in Somnium and I made a video, and then suddenly we were in some kind of disco place that somebody made, and we were going crazy. And it was even fun without the feet.
It was church.
It was a church.
It was a church, and it was drum and bass playing there. That I remember. That was really crazy.
It was a drum and
the church
bass
is still
church, and it was really fun. I had a great time dancing, and oh god, this is going to be so crazy. Yeah, right. Okay, so these are the Tundra Trackers, and again, yes, you're right. For the pricing that was just revealed, $95 for one tracker, but this is without dongle. So this is if you already have a dongle. Then $130 if you want the dongle and the tracker, and three devices with dongle, $300. So it gets cheaper the more devices you get. Well, it is cheaper, but it's still not so cheap. I mean, it's still not this kind of impulse buy cheap, right? It's still a bit expensive.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things with these trackers, because again, I would love to try it, and every time I hearing artists speak about it as well, you hear these people that speak about body tracking and how it can change the immersion factor of being in there. So I would love to try them. I think the number one priority of these companies is to get the cost down, because in order to purchase 2 or 3 of these, you're looking to an expense which is just beyond what most people will see as being like a viable benefit to them until they've tried it. So I think a lot of this stuff, it just needs to get cheaper. And I know it's not as simple as that. They can't just magically make these things cheaper. They're expensive things to make. So I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that in a wider context, to get these in the hands of people, they should. That's really the thing holding it back.
Right.
Let's bring a little controversy into the discussion. I actually kind of disagree with that, because I think the number one priority, of course, always having the price down is the best thing which could happen to the product. But I think the number one thing they should work on is cross compatibility with different headsets. Like that thing, especially if we talk about Vive stuff and with about HTC things, like they have to make it in a way that it can work. And right now it can, but if we talk about like lip tracking thing, it's just if more headsets and more ecosystems can adopt it like that because I think in the moment, if the person really is serious about social VR, and he knows exactly use case what he wants to do with those trackers, and that's what I think, that's like 90% of people who are buying them right now, then the price is for them is kind of like, okay, it's maybe painful, but they're going to buy it anyway, right? So yeah, if the price goes down like to $40 per tracker or $35, then maybe there will be a lot of more impulsive buying, and people will be doing more, trying it more, and we'll see more people with that. But I think right now it's such a niche that's why the companies, they know, right, that it's they don't need to go down with the price, because they have this price analysis done, and they just look at this and they say, okay, if we go $50 down with the price, we're gaining only 10% more users. We don't care about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point to bring up. Yeah, and that's true. What I would say is that, alternate to that, taking the ecosystem aside, if a company is bringing out a body tracking solution, whether that's Steam VR or compatible with other ecosystems, I see a company in the future possibly bringing out a completely alternate solution which is compatible with whatever.
Absolutely.
And at that point, I think it needs to be cheap enough for general mainstream people to see the advantages of it. You're right, at the moment it's niche and people know that they want it, so they'll pay whatever it takes to use body tracking in all of these pieces of software that currently support it, because they want to do certain things. I understand that. It's a good point to bring up. I agree. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, I agree as well.
And it would be great if we had a headset that already had this included in the first place. That you don't have to buy those, but I don't know. That it just has some clips.
Exactly. I mean, like, why couldn't you? Maybe you don't do like that precision level of Vive trackers, of HTC trackers, but if you include let's say standalone like Quest, and you somewhat do a Bluetooth / camera sensors trackers system where they accelerometers and stuff, and you give people 80% of experience for 1/10 of a price, I mean, that would be a success. And I think it's coming. Like, I think that's definitely the future. And seeing, like, you remember, Sebastian, we were talking about that, like Samsung Odyssey. when the Odyssey, and the difference between Odyssey and Odyssey Plus in the controllers was significant. And that was just due to the way how they were interpolating the Bluetooth signal from the controllers, right? And then the signal was coming, and how they were calculating and calibrating the Bluetooth. So you were able to bring your hands much further than you were able to do it before. And that was just basically like software thing. So what I'm saying is, you could do good trackers if you put them in these arms and legs, to mix this with cameras plus the accelerometers, and all that combined could work. Like, you could have like 75-80% of experience of actual trackers from HTC.
Right. That would be so exciting, actually, if somebody would do that. And that brings us to our next topic, because HTC has done a very interesting job, let's say like this, teasing new hardware. That's going to be a very exciting topic now. So what they did, and we all know that by now, let me share my screen here with you. They were teasing something. They were teasing something the whole last week and before. It's your move, right? And we saw this kind of hard plastic with that Vive logo shining. Then they said like, okay, 70% more energy. And then they teased another thing here, this kind of facial tracker. And lots of people, including me, thought, okay, that is most probably the standalone headset that actually was also somehow talked about like 2 weeks before by HTC, by the president. And, well, that was not the case. So that was not the case at all. No standalone headset now. I still believe there will be a standalone headset from HTC this year, but instead they have shown us something else. They've shown us new trackers. Let me show you that right now. New trackers. Here, the Vive tracker in Europe costs 139 euros for one. So again, not cheap. For those who want them, it's okay, right? But for the general public, just like Gary said, it's too expensive, right? Those trackers, and they are, according to the website, 33% smaller. They are 15% lighter, and they have 75% longer battery life. Very nice. Very cool. Very good. And the other thing that they have introduced is a facial tracker at 139 euros. Now, that is, in my opinion, is more exciting because, well, we have seen the tracker before. We know how it works. It's great, right? But this facial tracker, this is really something new for the consumer that we can simply buy it. It costs 139 euros here in Europe, and it does facial tracking. So you can connect it to your Vive Pro and your Vive Pro Eye. Unfortunately, it seems
that's where the problem starts.
Yeah. I want to say, like, okay, unfortunately, that is a headset that was sold in our 2017. Now they had been selling the Vive Cosmos and the Vive Cosmos Elite, right? So why isn't it compatible with that? That's so sad for the people who bought a Cosmos. I am not just the bad tracking, but now it's even not compatible with that. Yeah, dear HTC, what are you doing again here? But anyone who has a Vive Pro or Vive Pro Eye, they can now get this facial tracking interface. And as you can see here on my screen right now, well, it scans, it records the user's face, and then you put it onto the avatar. And in virtual worlds like Somnium Space, Neos, and VRChat, then if it is supported, actually, your facial expressions are being shown in these worlds. And that is pretty amazing, isn't it? What do you think?
I think it's niche of the niche. I think it's cool tech, but it's niche of the niche. Like if we thought Vive trackers are niche, like that was mainstream in comparison with this. So I think it's a great tech advancement. I think the way how I see it being done by HTC in terms of how the hardware looks, and I mean, we've ordered as well, so we are implementing it as we speak. But it's the hardware looks kind of bigger than I would expect it should look for this kind of purposes. And on top of that, I think because they limited it to the Vive Pro and Vive Pro Eye headsets, that is, for them, it's a catastrophe because, this thing has USB-C. Now, the question is, will it work with Valve Index? I'd guess it will. I think people will be able to make it work. But, it should be different. It should be like, hey, here's the lip tracking from us, from HTC. The best and the most let's say seamless experience you will have with Vive and Vive Pro Eye, but it is compatible with any VR headset which has an USB-C input on it. Boom! Now you suddenly have all the Quest users are able to rig it on top of it, and all the other users of Valve Index and stuff. And so that would be a revolution because suddenly you are opening yourself up to millions of people instead of closing yourself up to sub% of people who use those headsets. So yeah, that I think is the biggest mistake, and I just hope they will change their mind and somewhat make it compatible with other headsets, which I don't think is possible at the moment. But that what should have happened, and that would have been exciting because then they would have sold many more of those units. And because that's not the case, I think we will see a very low adoption of niche of the niche. and maybe it will be used for some research purposes, which is a very legit use case. But I don't expect that suddenly you will see, going to VR chat, for example, you will see hundreds of people using this. I just don't think that's the case. I think you will see 2 people, and it will be a cool experience. Because don't forget, like, in order to make it happen, you don't only need to have a compatible VR headset, but also you need to rework and update your avatar so that that avatar itself supports that, and you have like to add 39 muscles and the tongue and everything. That is a hell of a lot of work to make that avatar work properly in a system like VR chat or through a Somnium SDK. So yeah, I mean, cool tech. I think we will see much sleeker and more and cheaper implementations in some upcoming headsets. Probably will start this year. Probably we'll see some mainstream headsets coming with eye tracking first, because that's already quite easy to do, and that will become pretty cool. And then the next step would be, yes, since we have eye tracking, we'll introduce the lip tracking as well. And maybe in 2022, we'll see some headsets which have both of that. Maybe Oculus Pro will have something like that. But yeah, niche of the niche so far, but cool direction. Let's push the boundaries. Why not?
Right. What do you think, Gary, about this?
Well, to be honest, I mean, it gets a little bit exhausting trying to analyze HTC's decisions a lot of the time. This is going back years. Honestly, it's going back years and years with the Vive Pro originally. I think that's where things started to fall apart. As great a product as the Vive Pro is, it was priced way ahead of what most people were willing to pay for it at that time. Again, we're back on price, I know. But the problem is we tried to analyze all of HTC's decisions, and the marketing around this announcement was very odd anyway in the first place, because
it was terrible, man.
Well, they were going backwards and forwards with Oculus. Oculus tweeted them at like a chess move or something, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
And HTC must have been thinking, oh my God, we've got Oculus tweeting to us now. People are expecting too much. What do we do? Well, what they did is double down and just constantly do these.
That was so funny.
It was strange. And Oculus, it seemed like they fooled Oculus as well for a while. Oculus must have been thinking that this is another standalone.
Of course.
This is standalone headset.
I honestly think that maybe I'm wrong. Like, Alvin, if I'm wrong, please tweet at me that I'm wrong. But by the way, I'm a fan of HTC. I want them to succeed.
Yeah, me too.
Like competition in the market.
Like everyone is rooting. Everyone is rooting for them. But why?
But I think the reality was like this. Like, if we picture those two companies, like Oculus with a huge marketing department and a very precisely crafted messages on Twitter, and then one guy or girl in HTC responsible for Twitter somewhere with a phone, and like, they tweeted, Oculus tweeted us, what do I do? And I tweet something back. So I think, honestly, I would imagine it like this, like a huge department with a very crafted messages and like 1 or 2 people responsible for the Twitter account of HTC doing something like this.
Yeah.
But it unintentionally brought that attention to this topic, maybe which they didn't even expect to have.
Well, I think that made it bigger than it was. It was already going to be big anyway, because people were expecting. And off the back of this interview that Alvin Van Gralen did with Teleport Me as well, where he was talking about standalone, this is all coinciding with that at the same time. So what are people supposed to think?
Yeah, sure.
Of course we have to think it's a standalone headset.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'll leave that to one side very quickly, because the innovations, look, there is still innovations here, isn't there, with it? So I think that's a good thing. With that face tracker, I like the idea of it. I agree. I think, to me, it seems like it's I don't even know if I want to say over-engineered or whatever, but it's too big, it's too obtrusive, it sticks out. There is no way I wouldn't smash that to bits within 5 minutes of using it with the controllers and stuff, because it sticks out that far. So I think there's a few things with it. I think it looks odd. And
exactly. It looks like this. Could be a little bit smaller, of course, but
it's a little bit flatter. But
but the audio was really nice now, Artur.
Right? ASMR.
yeah, exactly.
So I like the idea of it. I think it's too obtrusive for what it is. Honestly, I think the price of this, for the niche of a niche, as you say, and a captive market for the kind of people that want this kind of thing, the price doesn't seem that outrageous on this particular.
It's all right.
It's totally okay. I totally agree. It's pretty nice, actually.
Yeah.
I ordered one.
Me too.
Yeah, you're right. So okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, Somnium needs one to to bring it into the system, I suppose. But yeah, I like the idea of it. Look, with facial tracking, I think it's going to be there one day, and this is a first step. It's an interesting step, nevertheless. No matter how much I sort of so, go for HTC with regards to their marketing strategy around this. I'm a big fan of HTC as well. Love my Vive. So yeah, I just want them to. I want them to make decisions that make sense to me in a purely selfish way. I want it to make sense.
You are not alone.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So, like, I believe so many people are actually rooting for HTC now because the industry needs that kind of like a counterweight to the Quest and to how dominant Facebook is now. Yeah, Samsung would be great, but HTC has lots of chances to do that, right? They do have Vive Port Infinity. Like, they're the only company. Okay, no, Steam also has it. I mean, Valve and also Sony, of course. So there are a few companies who could pull this off, right? Valve could be a bigger competitor to the Quest. And yeah, well, Sony also a bit with their PSVR 2. But really, like, HTC, they could pull it off with their Viveport store, because in China there's even a mobile Viveport store, which is basically the Quest store for us here in the West. They have it in China, so they could actually bring this over to the West, and the people are rooting for them. And so I was actually really disappointed and sad that they have effed it up again here with this marketing, with bad marketing, because on its own, I believe that this is cool that they have a facial tracker and that they have these new 2.0 trackers. These are cool devices, I think. Right?
You know what would be a killer thing if they do? If they come up within 1 month with a standalone headset and they would say all of the things which we sell, like trackers and lip tracking, is compatible with that.
Yeah,
and we would be like, we would be like,
yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
It makes sense. That would make sense.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, Artur, here, there's some hope now.
Alvin.
Yeah, Alvin, if you're watching this would be great.
Yeah, that would be a killer.
That would be great. Oh yeah, now. Oh, you're giving me hope here.
Yeah.
Artur.
Rumors.
Yeah, rumors. It's starting here again. The rumors.
Yeah.
Man, Artur, you should be working with HTC.
I mean, again, I can't repeat. I mean, Alvin, are you coming to Somnium for another interview again? Come on, that would be great. No, I mean, look, HTC will have an always soft spot in my heart for them, because the first full room scale tracking
that was
VR
beautiful.
headset I've tried. Partly the reason why I started Somnium was because I tried the early version of HTC Vive. Like, that's truth. Yep. That's the story, and I want them to succeed. And we need a competition. Like, HTC has to really put a lot of efforts into it. The same as Samsung. Like, Samsung has all the cards and all the decks on their table to do an amazing job of VR. They have their own ecosystem in the mobile. They know how to build own ecosystems. They worked with Oculus, so they know how VR works. They have expertise in-house. They have amazing screens and hardware team. They can build the most sleekest and perfect device ever. And they're in position of power to A, subsidize headsets, and B, bring it to masses. They can just put all over the place, all the ads, like Carmack was saying, that the part, why it was great in the beginning to work with Samsung is because, Oculus can make a great headset, but then Samsung takes it and puts it on the Times Square and tells them, like, now you're going to buy the Gear VR, like, now go and buy that thing. So that is the power of Samsung. And I really hope that 2021 will be the year where we'll see the new headset. I'm still hoping about the headset which can be standalone and wired at the same time. Like, honestly, it just cannot be only standalone or only wired. It has to be both. In 2021, it already has to be both.
Yeah, I mean, good point. And the HTC, if HTC bring out a standalone headset, which I agree they are going to, because Alvin said they were. So I think that's going to happen. I think part of the frustration with HTC is that when you look at it from a consumer point of view, it's almost like at this point, I wonder how HTC are surviving on the business that they've developed since products after the Vive, I don't really understand how they are getting so much adoption or purchasing of this hardware in order to sustain them. And it could be partially be Viveport subscriptions or something like that.
It's China.
China.
They are strong in China.
Okay. So we take China, and are China buying, this hardware, the HTC hardware, that for consumers, or is it enterprise use over there? Because we constantly hear from HTC how they are targeting enterprise, and yet these are all available to consumers as well.
Yeah, that's right.
That's something that shouldn't be forgotten. My point is that it's frustrating with HTC when you look at this. And okay, I will take the point of China on board, because if they are able to sustain their marketing strategy, their business strategy, and their hardware strategy at this stage purely with China, then good luck to them, and I hope they can sustain it in that way. It's just that where I am and where I see these products coming out, they just don't make sense for me and anybody I know.
I think what you say makes sense. And the thing is, we are looking at this from the consumer standpoint. We want this cool stuff,
exactly.
we want that cool stuff like the Quest 2. The Quest 2 is just so perfectly crafted towards us. Cheap, it's easy to use, right? And it has all the games. It's perfect. But then we see something come out like this here, the facial tracking. It for us somehow doesn't make sense, because no one of us has the Vive Pro. Yeah, I have it, but I'm not the normal consumer. The normal consumers have a Quest 2, and now they see this and they see, we're like, wow, it's cool, but they can't use it. And I totally agree what Artur said. Why isn't that directly compatible with all the headsets? Right, with the main headsets, why just with the Vive Pro and the Vive Pro Eye? Why not make it compatible with the Cosmos? At least with the Cosmos, at least with their own headset. I mean, at least with that. I can understand that they not right out of the batch say, okay, this works with the Quest 2, but it would be amazing if it would work with the Quest 2. Then probably they could price it even $199, and people would pick it up and put it to their Quest. And suddenly, so many people would have some HTC device again. And it seems like with accessories, they are not so bad, right? Lots of people still love the HTC Deluxe Audio strap, which is still like one of the best straps that people like connect to all kind of different headsets.
In the chat of this video, someone was commenting that probably the best-selling product of HTC is this Deluxe Audio strap.
It is. It really.
The Oculus.
This is so funny.
I mean, it makes sense. But it should tell them that, maybe there is another business opportunity here, because, you open up your ecosystem a little bit. You allow people to buy your product. They see your logo all the time. So they will pay attention to every other announcement you do, because they already own piece of your hardware.
For example.
Like, that's just the truth of life. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
That makes sense. So I totally understand, Gary, what you said, that this is frustrating because we see this as a consumer. But Vive, it seems like they are not looking at this like we do. The thing is, they do have this business strategy of business first right now, it feels. They are doing a great job with enterprise. They are working on this XR suite, this suite of programs. They want to make the office of spatial computing with this XR suite, and it's great, actually. Lots of different programs that are accessible simply by one login, like VR Chat is actually one of them. It's called VR Social, it's called XR Suite Social or so. If you go there, and lots of cool things. So they know they have sold the Vive Pro and the Vive Pro Eye to lots of enterprises in Europe, in China, in the States. And they look at this device, they have developed this device for those people, for their conferencing software, right? They have a conferencing software, it's called Vive Sync, and then they can sell this add-on to them, and then Vive Sync even gets better. Because, well, then you see your business partner in VR when you have that session with full facial tracking. So for them, it makes sense. For enterprise, it makes sense.
Face it, like let's guess. How many business partners have used the Vive Pro Eye with facial tracking? What do you think? What's your guess?
Guess. Right now, nobody. But now it's at least possible. Right. It gets better now.
I mean, even with Vive Pro Eye, let's say, I think it's as much as I am pro VR, and I know it will completely revolutionize everything. I just think, because when you try to target niche, and you go more and more of the niche, you're ending up in some sort of weird situation where the whole market is moving somewhere very fast, and you're catching up with something else. So I really hope, like, standalone with compatibility, back compatibility, all those devices would just kill it. Like this would be a killer.
Yeah. And also, while I hear a lot about HTC, focusing on enterprise and the enterprise applications, the business applications of their products and VR, I agree that VR must have like these huge opportunities for businesses and enterprise and that kind of stuff. The actual practical applications that I see ever being mentioned are so few and far between that I mean, what companies, what businesses have actually used VR in a really practical way for their day-to-day businesses that you can give example, or anybody could give examples of, that are big enough to warrant this kind of market, this targeting enterprise? That's my question really as well. I don't see that too often.
But it does happen. It does happen. Like, for example, I had an interview with Spatial, that software that helps facilitate these virtual discussions. And they told me, like, really big companies that like Pfizer, for example, they're doing their meetings now in virtual reality with that Spatial application because, well, it saves lots of cost. Because before they did really meet in person, but now they can do it virtually, and it simply works better when you have this kind of spatial component. So yes, it is happening. Really, it is absolutely happening.
Yeah, I hope it is, because I know anybody that's interested in VR will say that it must have multiple applications for business. And people are mentioning in chat training. Yeah, I do hear these stories of businesses using VR for training as well. I think there was a story about Walmart ordering a load of Quests or something at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is happening.
So that's true.
I can tell it. Also, like collaboration, if companies want to work together on R&D and they work on these CAD files, they meet in VR in these special applications, no matter where they are. It is happening, even though we as consumers don't see it. But I do also consult companies, and yes, this is actually happening.
Okay, that's good to know at least.
Yeah, right. That is happening. Yeah, so facial tracker. Wow, I would be super happy if all that stuff really would work with that standalone headset. At least the facial...
It must.
Yeah, you're right.
There's almost no other way. Like, it has to work. If they come with a new headset which is not back compatible with what they just released,
at least the facial tracker. Like for the little trackers, they will definitely need the base station. So that's not going to happen. Right.
I mean, why wouldn't you have that? I mean, if you're a company who does that, who develops those trackers, why wouldn't you develop a headset which is compatible with a PC VR experience and the standalone experience? Why wouldn't you have that? Like, it's not that difficult to make. Why couldn't be compatible with cameras and a base station at the same time?
Would be great.
Because you make it maybe $100 more expensive, but you bring so much utility into the space, right?
So you'd be talking about having like an inside-out tracking system, and then also alongside that built into the same unit. Yeah. I mean, it's doable, I suppose.
It's doable. It is, from hardware standpoint, it's totally doable. I would assume and I would bet that it's doable. It will make the unit more expensive,
which is a problem.
Look, I mean, for HTC, I don't think it's a problem. If you're charging $1,000, you can charge $1,100. It doesn't make any big difference.
If they completely target this at enterprise and not at us at all, at consumers, then it's not a problem. But if they still have like one glimmer of hope that they somehow could compete with the Quest 2, then it's a problem.
By price, I don't think they can compete with by price with
Quest
2.
But it cannot be too expensive.
If you don't go and compete with Quest 2 by price, your choice is: are we making it $300 more expensive, or are we making it, $500 more expensive? But then we are putting some, bleeding edge tech inside it, and giving people an ultimate, machine. And I'd say, from marketing standpoint of view, I'd say, you know what? Since the sales will be lower, let's just earn a higher margin on a much more expensive device with an amazing tech inside, which is back compatible with all our other tech, which we might sell more if people start buying this. That's just like normal business thinking here. But maybe there's technological hurdle.
But go ahead, Gary.
No, I was just going to mention your point there, Sebastian, as well. It's like they're half and half as well. It's this half and half approach. They want to target enterprise and business, and yet at the same time they've still got a foot in the consumer market. That's why it's frustrating and confusing to consumers, I suppose, with their products. If they went full on with this enterprise and business approach, perhaps that will be well, at least something to try. And it wouldn't confuse me. That's it.
But exactly that was the problem, for example, of the HTC Vive Pro, because they were not sure who are they actually targeting. Okay, prosumer, what does it mean? So it was somehow targeted at the enterprise customers, but somehow also at us, right? Because they did sell bundles with Viveport Infinity, right? So they were not really sure who is that for. And then us consumers, we thought like, oh, that is too expensive. And that was the point where they lost the consumers. And they didn't win them back with the Cosmos, unfortunately, because it was simply not good enough. And so if now they're going for that business-only device, this standalone headset, I have the feeling it's going to be goodbye for the consumers. I believe that we're going to say
I don't think they will ever do it. I don't think they will ditch the consumer market. I think they understand that once they do it, there is almost no way back. And I think they just cannot afford to lose the consumer market. They'd rather put drag their legs with a 1% market share in the consumer market than completely be gone out of that. So I think.
But then it's going to be tough to do that super high expensive one. What you just said, right? The standalone headset.
I think there's a lot of people who bought G2. G2 was not that cheap headset.
Okay.
And there is quite a lot of. Yeah, but there's quite a lot of people who bought G2 plus, using Oculus controllers, and the cost is. The cost is piling up. So, like, just an exercise. Like, would you rather Oculus Quest 2 for 300, or would you rather HTC with all of this goodness I just described and we described for 850?
Okay, obviously you're asking the right person. I would probably go for the $800 one, but the normal Joe Blow, from Walmart. That's what Anthony. That's what Anthony would say.
5%, yeah, but they don't need them. They just need 5% of the consumers who would buy that headset for 850.
Probably.
And I think that would be enough for them to keep them alive, to get ready for the next headset, and to get back food into the market. So hopefully. Maybe that's, I don't know. Let's hope. Hope is what we have.
There are people out there as well that will purchase the headset just so they don't have to log in with Facebook. There are those people out there. I'm not saying there's too many of them that would pay attention that much, but people that do follow it. And the VR market, the people that are very interested in VR is growing all the time as well. And of those people, I think there is probably quite a decent subset that would rather not have to log in with Facebook as well, and they could go with HTC.
Agreed, but probably if there's only like 5% user base as compared to the Quest, it's going to be tough to motivate the developers to port it over to that store. I mean, if everything is very simple, then probably people will do it, right?
Make it
super simple,
wireless and SteamVR compatible with all the games.
You're right.
You are the winner, and Oculus is the loser, and that's
not so easy, perhaps. But I agree, it would be good.
I don't think that Oculus ecosystem, in a way, like Oculus will not be the only company who will be trying to dominate the VR market. Whether it's HTC coming or Samsung or someone new, something will happen. And when you have an open system against the closed system, open system always wins in the long term, in the long run. That's it. Like, it's just simple. So Facebook can try to throw as much money as possible, and they will continue doing that, and they will be subsidizing, and they will be pushing it. Now, the only question for the future of VR is, will Facebook have enough revenue to sustainably support their VR aggressive strategy long enough to lock all people down? Or will Facebook have a existential problem sooner than later, because people will start, using some other product, and then they will not be able to support their VR strategy, and then, some other company will take it over? That's a big question. So,
That indeed is a super big question. Yeah, but I agree. Then the next standalone headset from HTC, it should absolutely be compatible with SteamVR right out of the box, without having to install virtual desktop, right? Just you do
Yes.
this, and you're right. Lots of people would go for it who don't want that Facebook stuff, right?
Of course.
Who simply want to use their Steam VR games and have a nice wireless solution and
Instantly.
instantly make it
Like
work.
honestly, give me a give me a headset, and even put the special router in the box, so that I just plug into my computer and it's already set up for like 5G Wi-Fi. That I don't need
you're
to
right.
set up anything. Just put me this. I pay $50 extra, but I want to have this easy and seamless setup, and that's it. Like people would pay for this stuff instantly. I think so. I really we talk a lot with our community. I know what people are buying. I know, what they are spending on, and I know the sentiment, and the sentiment is clear. Like, give us something good and we will give you the money. Yes, it will not be as mainstream as Oculus Quest, but it will be enough for HTC to sustainably exist and, continue to innovate in this consumer space. Just a thought here. So just throw at me a router. Like I would buy.
Yeah,
the
why
router.
not? Why not? If you simply plug it into your router and then everything works out of the box, good idea, absolutely.
Exactly.
And they are not so expensive. Yeah, you can get a
Yeah,
really good router for like €50. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gary, do you say router or router where you are?
Router. Yeah, I guess
Router. We say router.
You say router,
Yes.
okay.
The Americans that say router.
Router,
I said
okay.
router. I said router on VR Roundtable a few times, and everybody mocks me in chat.
Oh, really?
What I'm talking
Okay,
about.
no. Here in Germany, we also say
Router it is.
router.
Yeah, router.
Okay, router. On Next Dimension podcast, it's router.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, but the thing really is, HTC has shown us time and time again that their business decisions are strange, questionable. And really, I really root for them to do the right thing with this standalone headset. And it seems all so natural for us. As in, it should connect to Steam VR automatically. The facial tracking should work. The device that they have just shown, it makes so much sense to us, but probably it's not going to happen.
Let's have faith.
Oh man.
Right?
We'll have faith. Let's have a bit of optimism about HTC.
Okay.
Finally,
Exactly.
after all of these years, they'll bring it back with a standalone headset.
I hope so.
And it's not going to compete directly with the Quest 2, because the thing is, as well, he did say in that interview, it's not going to compete with the Quest 2.
Yeah, right.
But he could simply be talking about price there. They're competing on a different level. They're not competing on price. They're competing with a different level, a different product. And I think there are options with them to do different value propositions with a standalone headset rather than focus on price. As you mentioned, Sebastian, like if they had a mobile version of Viveport or something like that they could bundle in with their headset. And again, do all of these things, then there's different ways that they can make value with the headset without necessarily competing directly on price. I'm probably going over ground we've already covered anyway. So
Yeah, right. Oh my
Reading
goodness.
that there was a big discussion in the chat, so I'm glimpsing into the chat, and I'm looking at there's a huge discussion about like that all of that, like all the facial stuff is made for VTubers in Japan and stuff.
No.
I think
No.
at least, and again, I'm not a big follower of VTubing in Japan, especially, but I think like that is again, it's a big thing which is growing and it will grow dramatically. But there is also other tech which could be used to make facial expression, like even webcams or even special cams and special software can actually do some cool stuff and track your your expressions on the web. Depending on which kind of VTuber you are. If you are a complete VR VTuber, then it's one thing. But if you are a just webcam animated VTuber, this is completely other thing. And I don't think like those people who are just being tracked by the cameras will suddenly buy a headset plus put the lip tracking system on it and start doing this VTuber. So it's two separate things. And I don't think HTC is like releasing this piece of hardware saying like, okay, Japanese VTubers.
No,
It's your turn. It's your turn now.
Finally.
They should have an answer to Oculus like, no, it's not your turn.
It's for the
Japanese
Japanese VTubers. No. Right now, I would like to ask into the chat, who in the chat thinks that HTC actually can pull something off, which makes sense, for the standalone headset? Please say yes. If you think they will not be able to pull off something that makes sense, please say no, just to get a general idea. And unfortunately today, I didn't have time to make up the poll, so we just have to do it a bit like this. Say yes if you think yes, HTC can pull something off with a standalone headset in the future. Say no if you think no. They have proven in the past that they
I
can't.
start this top. I'll say yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool.
I'm typing it right now.
Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, here you are. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see what people will say to that. Very exciting topic. So the market 50-50 says Dr. Doty.
But you see, it's proving us that people do care about this stuff still.
Yeah,
and
of course, we want them to
that's the only
succeed.
hope of HTC right now. Like, they still are in the game because people are willing to support them, and they should not abandon this support. Like, they should praise that, and they should really be humble about this. They should really understand that there is a core community which waits for them to succeed. So I don't know what's, if there is not enough money, like if HTC would just raise hand and like go to the markets and try to raise another, round of capital, I think they would get it. Maybe partnering with some other company could be also an option, or bring their own expertise and doing some hybrid headset with Samsung. I don't know. It's possible because they also have a lot of patents. So if they bring their patents on the table and expertise, and Samsung brings their hardware team and says, hey, let's do that. So I mean, if HP can do partnership with Valve, I believe Samsung can do partnership with HTC. Like, it's possible, it's doable. It's just the will of the companies and management. So yeah, let's hope.
Let's hope for the best. And our chat is kind of like 50-50. Some people say yes, some people say no, and some people say 50-50. So it is pretty 50-50 here. Let's hope it. But you're right. I do believe that there's lots of goodwill. Like they have not like spent all their credit yet, and I believe they could be successful. Let's just hope that it's going to happen. Yes, and Sean B is live on MRTV. Yes, woohoo, Sean! I even called you out. Isn't that an amazing feeling? All right. So now let's go to the next topic here, and it is all about the Apple VR AR headset that is supposedly going to come out next year, 2022. In the beginning of this year, we talked about some reports from The Information and from others, from Bloomberg, who said, okay, 2022 is going to happen. It's going to be a VR headset with lots of cameras, with like 12 cameras, which will do perfect pass-through, that you have all these AR functionality, that you can use AR apps just as good as with the HoloLens 2, probably even better, 8K displays, blah, blah, everything amazing. But these reports said the device would be like a very, very high-priced $3,000 device. Now we have another report, and we're going to have a look at this report together here right now. And this report is from Ming-Chi Guo. And Ming-Chi Guo is an analyst, a supply chain analyst, who often does these kind of reports. And they have been accurate for the Apple devices very, very often. So if he comes up with some kind of report, it is to be taken serious. And this report says it is going to come out in 2022, and it's not going to cost $3,000. It's going to cost $1,000. And that is actually a big game changer as compared to the $3,000 price, right? And Ming-Chi Guo says that this device, the final product, will be around 100 to 200 grams, which is crazy. The Quest 2 is about 500 grams, right? And also, it's going to have Sony micro OLED displays, which is of course great. It means great blacks, great colors. It is going to run independent of an iPhone, so it's a complete standalone headset. And, well, probably better than any other VR headset on the market right now. And probably it's going to have video-related applications, like, for example, Apple TV Plus, that you can watch there, Apple Arcade, playing Apple Arcade games. And something that I simply throw out there is like sports games that you can see there, because Apple bought NextVR, which is this company that did this kind of live broadcast of football games, boxing, and so on and so forth. So $1,000 as compared to $3,000, that would be probably a game changer, and probably lots of people would pick this up. What do you think, Gary? Is this a big difference as compared to the $3,000 device?
Of course, yeah, it's $2,000.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of obvious.
I'd say that as well, that before we spoke about it on this show, Sebastian,
Yeah.
as well, when they were talking about the $3,000 thing, and to me, I always felt like no matter what kind of product that was, it was always beyond the means of most people anyway, and they were focusing on this sort of this Mac Pro kind of market where they don't really sell that many of them. They're very niche kind of things, and it honestly, to me, even it didn't make sense then, and it still wouldn't now if it was $3,000. $1,000 is probably makes a lot more sense to me. And the other thing, I don't know if you're going to get onto this later, Sebastian, about the AR headset thing, the 2025 that's been sort of pushed back to 2025.
Right. Yeah, right.
Because the other thing that didn't make sense to me when we first heard about this VR headset is that the original rumors were that a year later, so this VR headset was going to be released in 2022, and then a year later we would have AR glasses in 2023. And that something didn't make sense. I mentioned on the show before that we're missing a piece of the jigsaw with regards to that. That didn't make any sense to me at all. And this makes a lot more sense, this kind of strategy, because most people will say, like, I listen to a lot of AR podcasts, so I read a lot of AR stuff as well. I'm no expert on any of this stuff, let's be honest. Who the hell am I? But I read a lot about it, and most people were telling me, who are more informed than I am, that this technology just isn't around at the moment to do that, where they could release a product at a reasonable price, a consumer product in 2023. That's what didn't make sense. So to me, this makes a lot more sense. $1,000 makes sense. I like the idea.
You're going to buy it.
Yeah. Again, is my wife listening or watching?
Oh, no.
Not. But yeah, it's
you're totally not going to buy it.
It's a lot more on the cards now than it would have been for 3,000. I certainly wouldn't for 3,000. 1,000, I'd see what it is. But yeah, my main point is that I think this makes a lot more sense. All these rumors that are coming out just make a lot more sense to me now. And it's interesting. I'm glad that Apple are making serious moves in this direction, if rumors are to be believed.
Absolutely. So,
Okay.
Artur, tell us about
time. Sorry, I have to rant. Like, we're talking about Apple VR and AR.
Go ahead.
Time. So I have a lot of respect for the Minty Quo guy or girl regarding the analysis. But, like, let's face it. Who in their peace of mind believed that Apple would release a consumer product as a headset for $3,000? That just ain't gonna happen. Like this is like, it's even for Apple, which can release high-end products for a lot of money. That just ain't gonna happen. So that's one thing. The second thing, which you just read, Sebastian, about all the specs of the headset. To me, it sounds like an AR headset, not a VR headset, because you cannot just, like, if you analyze what Apple is doing in the past 2 years, they put all those, LiDARs in their devices. They are letting people to map, and they are investing heavily in AR ecosystem. They're growing those developers to grow this AR ecosystem apps. And then they do absolutely nothing on the hardware side, nothing on the software side for a VR experience. So thinking that they suddenly will come.
No, this is a pass-through VR headset. So it's a VR headset, but actually it does all the AR things.
It won't be VR headset. It's just like, I don't even think they would call it VR headset. It would be an enhanced AR headset with some, like, think about Unreal but on steroids from Apple. So I think that's what we are going to see. I just don't see that they are going to introduce any kind of VR like games or something. It will be probably AR headset, and I think it makes so much sense for them to go into this headset with accompanying functionalities for their phones. So they want to sell more phones, but they also want to sell more devices, and having cool, sleek glasses. And why glasses? Because Apple is a fashion brand. It's not about, like, they're fashion first, tech second. And that's exactly where glasses are coming in. Like, you can sell, like, all those different frames and all of this different cool stuff, and you can make tons of money on that. And again, if you combine this plus their 3D audio stuff, and I'm not an Apple user at all, but, like, if you combine what they do with the 3D audio in their headphones plus the LiDARs plus the possible AR headset, then I can see them succeeding in this. I can see it being useful for people to wear on the street, seeing, seamless information about the surrounding, seeing some other people walking by with those headsets, and maybe if they allow it, seeing their names or some information about that, or maybe in the events and stuff. So that could be very useful. But I absolutely don't think that we'll see a consumer-ready VR headset from Apple anytime in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even further. I just don't think so.
Go ahead, Sebastian. Yeah, you've not spoken.
But now the thing is that Apple only will release hardware that is absolutely perfect. And if this is not a VR headset, if it is indeed like an AR headset, like for example, something like an Unreal, something that looks sleek, right? The Unreal also looks sleek. It also has this Sony OLED displays actually. But it's kind of limited with the field of view, for example, and with the whole usability.
But that's where R&D comes, right? From Apple. That's why Apple is Apple.
Yeah, Apple can do R&D, right? But there's so many reports now, and they all seem to say it's a VR headset because, in my opinion, it makes sense. In my opinion, it makes sense because VR headsets, they can make a really great user experience now. Like the Quest, it's a great headset. It's cool, and Apple can make a cool VR headset.
What are people going to play? If they release next year or this year VR headset, what are we going to play on that VR headset?
So the thing is, this VR headset, I'm not sure if you probably didn't get this point. This is an AR headset, so it does pass through. So basically, it does all the AR stuff. It has all the cameras, but instead of so in the display, you see your real world. It's just pass through, and all these apps that are now being done with ARKit for the iPad, they are going to work on that VR headset that does perfect pass-through.
But
that's the point.
But then I think that's then an AR headset to me. Like it's just
they might not call it a VR headset anyway.
Right.
I mean, 6 months ago, I'd be completely. I was with you all the way. I was saying Apple will never ever do anything VR. It doesn't make sense for Apple to do VR. AR makes sense for Apple, and that's what I was saying. But I'm trying to reconcile all of these rumors and reports that are coming out from legitimate sources as well. So I'm trying to think, how does this work? How does this play in with what we know about Apple, Apple's products, the kind of market Apple go for, which is purely consumer, really, and then all of these rumors as well. It's a confusing time, I'll be honest, because I still, at the back of my head, don't believe VR makes sense for Apple. And you're right, I don't think they'll call it a VR headset. It will it will have VR capabilities, but I think primarily it will have this pass-through.
Exactly.
It's AR. And again, I'll go back to what I said a few weeks ago. It's normalizing the technology at this point. This is how I'm trying to reconcile all of these rumors that are coming out. It's an attempt for Apple to get some kind of product out there in the near future, because the technology to do what they really want to do is not, it doesn't exist at the moment.
That's the point.
And that's the thing. They can't yet do what they want to do, which is what you're describing. Sleek glasses. That is the product they want. That is the product that makes sense for them. But they can't do it at the moment. By all accounts, they can't do it. Nobody seems to think that they are capable of releasing a product that we all want within the next year or two. It's got to be further out than that. I'm just trying to reconcile all the rumors and get it all right in my head as well, to be honest.
It makes sense. So what they're doing with that VR device, which does pass through, they are mimicking this future device, which is a AR headset, which has all these apps. And it makes sense because with the current technology, they can do a nice VR headset that does perfect pass through with all these cameras, which has all these apps. And then, according to this article, in 2025, they're going to come up with that other headset, with this real AR headset. And then they will already have all the apps there, since the developers can work on this current VR AR thing. So yeah, I think it makes sense. Artur.
I rant time again. I mean, honestly, I see Unreal, I see what they are doing, and I've seen a lot of videos, including your videos, Sebastian, about Unreal. Good, yeah. And this is today, and that's the way to go. Like, you can connect your AR headset and have many phone experiences, because they can't just go and reinvent the platform from inside out. So it has to be compatible to existing ecosystem of iOS. Like, it just has to work with that. and there's no way around it. And if that will work with that, then I totally believe that they can come up with a better, much slicker and nicer and functional version of Unreal, compatible with iPhones. And it will totally make me buy an iPhone because I would want to use that headset if it worked properly. I hate saying that, but it's true. So, like, having the pass-through, to me, it's like either you do VR or you do AR. Because if you try to do both at once, you would fail significantly at both things, because it's just like you're trying to, like, why would you do full pass-through if you still can see with your eyes, rather than just putting objects on top, like HoloLens is doing?
Because you don't have the technology. That's the point. You don't have this wide FOV technology if you only do AR. So that's why with this VR headset you can have a much wider FOV, and if you have great pass-through, it can be very magical.
Okay, name me top three experiences you would use on a fully pass-through. So you block your eye vision with the headset, and you have full pass-through 1-to-1, which is kind of hard to do. That it feels natural, but okay, I believe they can do it. They can do it. But okay, name me top 3 experiences which people will use by putting the headset on the face, blocking their vision, and then seeing the same world but through the headset.
But
top 3 experiences.
Blocking their vision, it's not blocking their vision, because if the headset is as we think, then they can see they can see everything.
Okay, but what are the top 3 experiences you think people would use?
He wants me to say Pokemon.
Like for example, Pokemon would be like the number one.
So you
Pokemon.
think people will walk in the street with those?
Yeah, why
headsets?
not? Yeah, sure. It's Apple. If one company can make a headset that people will want to wear as a status symbol, or what, then it's going to be the Apple thing. Probably is going to be.
You are talking about, I mean, as much as I believe in the crazy future and I'm like trying to build it, but you're talking about like Tron style thing, people walking in cities this year, or like maybe beginning next year. Not gonna happen.
I don't agree with that. It's gonna happen. I don't think this device that Apple is rumored to be bringing out next year, I don't think that's something that we'll see people walking around in the street with at all. I think it will be used for, to me, what I think it will be used for is at home, like the Quest, but if it's got this pass-through capability, you'll sit down on your sofa, it will be able to project a TV or whatever you want, or a screen, or do various little things, little mobile games, even mobile like AR games within your living room.
And what about social aspect? You block yourself from your family. Like, even if like, I have VR headset on my face. Like,
not if you have a great social pass-through. If you have pass-through, then I could still interact.
Imagine we will be putting the headsets on our faces.
Yes.
With our family to block ourselves from the reality, and then pass through the reality to see together some stuff.
Yeah.
It probably one day it will happen, but this day is not this year. Like it won't happen, and it's not Apple who is doing it, because Apple will be all about social things, like all about those frames on the glasses which you can change, all about those 3D spatial audio which you connect to your pro headphones, and then you'll have this all beautiful experience where you could take it to your with you, because you connect it with the lightning cable, because they want to sell more of those. To your phone, and it immediately puts up all the information right in front of your eyes, and Apple Car will just project on your eyes. But that is, to me, 100% AR headset with maybe slight capability. If you suddenly want to watch a movie, it will go darker, and that technology exists, and it goes dark, and you can watch a more stereoscopic video of your favorite movie from Apple TV. That, I believe, could come out.
But this device could do exactly this. Because it is a VR headset.
What you're telling me, like lots of cameras at $1,000, I think the $1,000 is a perfect price for a sleek glasses like Unreal, but much sleeker and more. But those are glasses which is an accompanying thing to the phone. It won't be this crazy Tron thing which you connect, with. I don't think that will be full headset with full FOV. I just don't think this will exist.
Well, no, I wouldn't have believed that either. And I probably, you're making a point. I agree with a lot of your points. And these are the points that I've mentioned as well before. It's just that when you try to reconcile these rumors, they're doing this out of necessity. Unless these rumors are completely false, okay? If we can take that aside, if we can say that these rumors are partially true at least, then you've got to try and think about, I mean, to me, I'm trying to think about reconciling these rumors with what I see Apple's ultimate plans as being. And they're doing this VR, AR pass-through kind of thing out of necessity. If they're doing it at all, they're doing it out of necessity because they can't do what they want to do at the moment.
I think the rumors are right, but the name is wrong. I think the guy is talking about AR headset, thinking that he's talking about VR headset, and probably
I think he knows the difference.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't know the difference. Okay. I'm just saying that the rumors are coming about something, and he's analyzing it and saying, okay, it's $1,000. It has all those displays, which we confirm that are displays which Unreal is also using. So to me, it's like, yeah, I mean, I just don't believe that Apple will cut you off the reality in 2021 nor in 2022. They don't have guts and other parts of bodies to actually do that. And they are not the brand who will actually pioneer this. Like Mark can do this because he's crazy enough to actually, invest billions in it. Apple will polish things, right? Exactly as you said, and they want their ecosystem to work, and lidars and 3D audio. That's exactly what is needed for AR, for great AR. So I think it's just I'm not an Apple user, by the way. I don't use Apple devices. But if they would come up with AR glasses which work perfectly with iPhone, oh my God, I'll be the first one buying Apple iPhone and Apple glasses. Truth. It's just truth.
Yeah.
So what if they don't come out with this? What you're thinking? But what if they come out with $1,000 headset that is a VR headset, like the Quest, which does pass through? What I think it's probably going to do. Will you buy it or not?
No games, no ecosystem, no content. Like, will it be Steam VR compatible? Oh, hell no. So, what will Apple show us in this VR headset?
Yeah,
Nothing.
just exactly the same things that you believe this Unreal thing could do. Exactly the same stuff.
Wait, so Unreal is doing AR headset with an accompanying apps from Android, for example.
Right.
But if it's not a VR headset, so Unreal is not doing a
it's
VR
AR.
headset.
It's AR stuff.
If Apple comes up with Quest, they probably have 10 apps.
I don't think so. I don't agree. What I believe that all the apps, all the AR kit apps that are now working on the iPod, no, on the iPad, on the Walkman, on the Sony Walkman, all the apps, they will be compatible. Because it makes sense, right? You have all the apps that are now ARKit, iPad apps, they could work on that device. And they will have their own store and everything, and it's going to be beautiful.
Of course. Look, I mean, we can bet 1,000 Dogecoins and see who's right.
We can rewatch this. We can rewatch this in 2 years' time.
Exactly. And then
look, I would say one thing. I'd love to be wrong, and I'd love them to come up with a killer VR headset, which would, they would secretly work and would kill everybody, and we would be just sitting there and saying, like, how did we not see this ecosystem and hundreds of games coming in VR? We are so stupid. I would love that to happen. I just don't believe this is happening, at least this year, or next year.
Okay, yeah, of course, it's going to be next year. Anyways, I'm going to rub this whole podcast under your nose, Artur. Once it is really this AR VR headset.
Please do so. I'll be like all over the place. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very nice discussion today. I love it. All right. And now we have already talked about our main topics for today. So now it's time to talk about Somnium Space. So Artur, for all the people who have never heard of Somnium Space, please do tell them what is Somnium Space.
Right. As if I didn't talk enough today, but so look. Somnium is a social VR platform, which is built on top of a decentralized blockchain network, Ethereum, allowing you to truly own items which you have inside Somnium, which you buy, sell, create, and have full control over whom, how, and when you sell those things. So I've been in virtual world since 1999, and one thing I've seen over and over again, whether it's Ultima Online, whether it's Second Life, whether it's World of Warcraft or anything, there is always one big problem: is the single point of failure, and that's centralization. Like this economical centralization, where companies, when they grow fast and they grow to a certain extent, they start to make bad decisions, whether they want it or not. I'm not saying it's on purpose. I'm just saying it's happening. And that really cuts the growth. And when I was starting Somnium, I thought, like, how can I make sure that Somnium has a functional world and economy for 50, 100 years ahead, and it can sustainably work without Somnium being responsible and for every single decision of that. And the only way how to do that is through the decentralized economy. And the only way how you can do decentralized economy today with the technology which is available today to humanity is blockchain. Forget about all those Bitcoin and prices and Dogecoin things. Like, blockchain is not about that. Blockchain is about decentralization of information, and this is the most decentralized database you can have. Like, this is about verification of your ownership. This is about verification of what you own, what you have created, and that is the most important part of it.
Okay.
All the rest is kind of like a bonus noise. Let's call it a bonus noise. And that's why we are based on Ethereum blockchain, and we will support more blockchains this year because we are a platform in the end of the day. So we want users to use the blockchain of choice they want. Right now, Ethereum is the most perfectly decentralized system humanity have ever came up with.
Okay, sorry. I have to step on the brakes here. So in Somnium Space, you can own things.
No, so it's a social VR experience where, like, if you imagine VR chat, you can go in Somnium, have a full body avatar, you can have fun and go to discos and talk to people and explore amazing galleries, creations, whatever people create. So that all is great.
Okay, let's go step by step. We're going to get to all that blockchain stuff for sure. So in Somnium, you can go inside Somnium. It's on Steam VR. Everybody can download it right now. And then they can get an avatar. It's like a social VR world. And in that social VR world, there are people. And you can meet them, you can talk with them, you can see what they've created. So you can create in Somnium. And what I can remember from our talks before, you always told me that's a big difference as compared to other social worlds like Rec Room or VR Chat, is that it's persistent, right? It's like one world.
Correct.
This is, I think, a very interesting factor. So I can say, let's meet at the Market Square at 3 p.m. and there's only one Market Square, and we're going to meet there, and it's just like the real world. Whereas in other social worlds, if you say, okay, you're going to meet there and there might be different instances of the same world, and you might not really meet. But in Somnium, it's really like one persistent world, right? Did I get that correct?
Correct. So this is one of the aspects. This is one of the differences. We are one persistent world, so we don't have any. Like, if you go inside Somnium, it's a huge world, and you can see far away. And we've optimized it to make sure that you have, like, the draw distance is huge, and like you could see a mountain 3 kilometers away, and it's a real mountain. Like, it's not a texture or a fake thing to pretend that's a mountain. Like in your Steam VR whole beautiful environment, but you know that all the rest there, it's fake. Like, it always killed me. Like, I wanted to explore those beautiful buildings in the distance. I wanted to go in like Microsoft Home, mixed reality home thing and go beyond the small area of my house, right? But it's never possible. So that's how you imagine something. Like, you appear and you see all that huge environment around you, and you can actually go and explore. And if you have HP Reverb G2 with a really high resolution, you could probably spot some people on the top of the mountain climbing it and maybe flying out of it. So that is the persistence. That is where you feel that you are in a huge space. And of course, you see kilometers and kilometers away buildings built by people, and you can go and explore them, and they're all there, and you can, you can just visit them. So that's what we call a persistent VR world. And of course, it brings a lot of challenges, like, scaling and server architecture, and we all work on that, and we polish it all the time. But in the end of the day, that's the true experience, which we believe is important. Because, as you said, if I want to meet you next to that tree, I want to meet you next to the tree, and I don't want to, like, we can make it in a way that if we're friends in Somnium, then as the system, we recognize that we should be put into one instance of 35 people. No. that's not the Ready Player One we all imagine. It has to be like you ideally you would meet like another 500 people on the way to that tree, and maybe you will never get to that tree because another 400 people will tell you that there is a disco happening on the right side, and you will forget about your friend and you'll go to that disco. That's another story. But I'm saying that this is one of the things which we are really progressing with, and we will be pushing it, and we're pushing it right now. But there is much more to that, right? There is much more to just being able to persistently meet people, but it's also about the ownership. And I will, of course, tell it. It's not about the money. It's about verification and ownership, and that's very important.
We're going to get to that once we're going to go step by step, because I really believe we have to get slowly to that whole blockchain thing, because it's a tough topic. It's very new. So one persistent world. But how many people could be in that? Because I simply believe it's just a huge challenge, right? If you don't just can start a new instance to have the same world and then to have more people. So how can you make this happen? How many people could be at Somnium at the same time, for example, now? And how can you scale this up? How does it work with one instance for all?
Yeah. So right now, this year, we believe we'll get to about 2,000 people in the same instance. So a capability of having fully functional 2,000 people at the same instance. We're constantly growing this tag. And of course, look, if 2,000 people log in the same instance, and if we reach a limit, if suddenly we have hundreds of thousands of people influxing to Somnium, temporarily we will spawn instances. The difference will be that our instances will be 10 times bigger or 20 times bigger than your normal instances you're used to maybe in some other experiences. So that's one thing. Another thing is it is a huge challenge. So we are working on it on a technological side in terms of our server architecture and stuff, but also we are working on it through the game mechanics things, right? Because we've introduced Somnium Worlds, which is an ability to create worlds inside the worlds and go inside them and like load a new instance completely, like you're going to a different world, not even a Somnium based reality, how we call it. So that will offload things, and people will be constantly like, there will be some events where there's like New Year's Eve or concert, right? Where there will be a huge concentration of crowd in one place. And that's where we would introduce dynamically those instances. We'll have to, but those instances will be huge. You will not see 25 people, like, for example, you saw in a Fortnite show where they had this concert and 2.5 million people saw it, or maybe 25 million people, I don't remember, huge number. But they all seen those another 20 people. They've never seen more than 20 people. So you would see in Somnium 600, 700 people, 1,000 people, which would, in VR, it would have, like, look, if you have, like, we had, 70 people at some point in Somnium, it feels huge. Like, it is already a huge crowd. Imagine this times 10, you would be, it would feel like a real concert, right? So it's a journey. It's a technological journey, but we would try to stay ahead of that as much as we can. And there is always a solution. If something suddenly scales up quickly, we are ready to spawn another instance and just make a smart game mechanics decision so that you always will find your friends and things like that. So this is possible.
I got it. And now tell me a bit more about creating. So people can create things, and then there's an economy, and you can sell things to other people, right? Or how does it work?
Yeah, so that goes back to exactly to what I said. So people, because of the existence of blockchain technology in general, people own all the tokens of all the things they use in Somnium, be it an avatar, for example, if they choose so. They can upload for free Somnium, through our Somnium SDK, any avatar. Somnium is free. Like, you can go there anytime. You don't need to pay. You can socialize, play some games and stuff like that. The component of economy comes in where you decide to put your avatar, which you've created, on a blockchain and then sell it to someone else. Now, why would someone else value that avatar more than a normal avatar? Just because it has proof of your creation. So you can verify it on blockchain in a decentralized way. You don't need to have a trusted authority. That authority is the network. You can see that this is one of one avatar. There's no other copy of that avatar existing. And you know that this is the creator, that's the original creator, and I buy that avatar from him. So that could be verified at any moment of time. But when you buy it from him, you don't need to ask permission of Somnium Space to go and sell it to some other person. You don't need to ask like what the price should be. You can just go and gift it to someone. You can sell it to someone. You have the full power over your belongings. So that's the example I always say. The example I always say, and we had this example, like there was one user who just started to do some really bad stuff, like against terms and conditions and things, and we had to ban the user. So we banned the user, and he was not having access to Somnium, but he went and sold his stuff on the market, and I think he made like $5,000 profit because he could. That's the power, and I loved it. I hated the user, but I loved the fact that he was able to do that, and that's the promise of decentralized economy. And we're just getting started in this. There's just such a huge concept behind it.
Okay, let's try to break this down so that anyone will understand it. Let's say for Second Life, for example, there's one company who does Second Life, right? The other, like a 2D world when there was no VR yet. And it was also about economy. You could also craft things, make things, and people were like earning.
It's amazing.
It was amazing, right? People were earning money from making digital things, whatever backgrounds or just things. And they could sell it in this Second Life. However, they sold everything within that Second Life from the company, right? The company basically was the platform. And if you sold something, then the company would keep the tabs on these kind of things and did all the stuff. So if the company goes bankrupt, it means your business is gone, right? That's the point. That's the one point of failure in this old how would I say it? Centralized way of doing business. Right? That's still everywhere. It's like this.
You even have to take a few steps back. Like, this is an extreme example. What you are saying, and let's take 2 steps back. The company of like Linden Labs, the company behind Second Life, they were having so-called Linden dollars, and Linden dollars had so-called a regulated supply and demand. So they were kind of like regulating the exchange rate, right? And again, you as a user on the platform, you kind of have almost no saying in there, right? You and again, I loved Second Life. I played so much Second Life, you can't even imagine. But the fact is that once they grow more and more, the pressure and the every decision has such a big impact on the system that even a small thing, which you seemingly is a small decision, could have a domino effect on the whole ecosystem. And that's what is centralized thing means. So that's what when you have all the control, like who you ban, what do you allow, what is the price they are allowed to sell, whom are you allowing them to sell, can they sell to someone you don't like, is the price is this, what is the so all of these decisions are making an impact. And when you try to, decentralization is not done in one click. Like Somnium is not 100% decentralized experience. There is no company in the world which is 100% decentralized. It doesn't exist today.
But it's going to happen, right? This is where we're going.
We are taking those steps today to first decentralize an economy, then decentralize an ownership, then decentralize our server architecture. Because if suddenly, I don't know, US government doesn't like us and they say, Azure, switch them off, that's a problem. Right? You would still, like in our case, people would still have their tokens, their collectibles on the blockchain. That's great. But they would not be able to use all of them as intended, right? That's bad. So our goal as the company to grow to a certain point where we would decentralize our server architecture, where we could run no matter what. We could do this in a semi-decentralized way today. So we could run, and we probably will do it, we could run several data centers or in several data centers and cloud companies all over the world. So let's say we would run in US, would run in Europe, would run in Russia, would run in China, and would have like all the same information circulating all the time. So if US cuts it off, we can still, redirect you to Russian servers, and you would still be able to reach that your data, but with maybe a little bit worse latency. But in the end of the day, when things like Ethereum, or not Ethereum, but when servers will be as decentralized as Ethereum today, it will be beautiful, because then you will suddenly have an ability to have the company which operates by itself, so-called,
right.
With some governance, and that governance could be me as a CEO, or that governance could be me as CEO and a community, or completely community. Right. That's a question.
Let me
That's the future.
So let me again step on the brake. So I do get it, but
Please do so.
I believe that lots of people simply cannot follow it.
Yeah.
So let's do it slowly. So let's say I'm a Somnium user, and I am, right, and let's say I can build something. I can build my MRTV headquarter, for example. I want to do it also, and but I want to make some money. Let's say I would like to build like MRTV mugs, digital MRTV mugs, for example, right? Like little, like some fan stuff, merchandise that I could sell to other people, and people who love the channel, they could go into Somnium, buy that MRTV mug, and use it in their house or whatever. This kind of interesting idea. So for something like Second Life, I would build it. And then there would be a market in Second Life that is run by Linden Labs, by the company that runs it, and some people can buy that. And I would make some money, right? That's how I understand it, like Linden Labs would work. All this centralized stuff works. So now, how would the same thing work in Somnium Space? And why does the blockchain make a difference? Like what does it mean? Please try to explain it to people who have never heard of blockchain.
Right. So thanks. It's a very easy task. So by the way, I'm reading comments here, and Garrett Blaine says, I can follow it easily.
Yeah.
You underestimate your community, man.
No. I understand. I understand that Garrett Blaine can probably get it. Totally get it. But I want all the people
right,
to.
Right below this comment, it was like, I can't. I'm lost.
Yeah, exactly. So let's
it's balanced,
slowly.
Right. So again, when you sell something on Second Life, Second Life creates the market, and Second Life dictates you which kind of tools and means you have to use to sell that in the first place. So Second Life could easily disable their marketplace at some certain part. Let's say Second Life hates MRTV mugs or hates mugs in general. They're just anti-Meg, right? So what they do is they say the section of mugs in Second Life will be disabled from tomorrow on. Bad luck, people. Whatever you've created is gone. You cannot sell it anymore, right? So that they can do it. In Somnium, it's impossible because you own the token. The token is on Ethereum blockchain. You can trade that token on any decentralized exchange or even peer-to-peer anytime. So I can't tell you, don't sell your avatar to that person because we just decided so. No, it's your decision. You can go and sell it for 50 grand if you want to, or if there is a buyer, and not even ask me. Like, that's it. Like, that's the decision. So that's just one example of that.
Right.
I'm not even talking about verification. Like, who is the owner? How many of those mugs exist? How can you easily verify that? What if the company fails to actually do the proper job to securing it? Like, what if someone rips your mug and tries to sell the same one? How do you know that's not the case? Who you complain to? How do you prove it? Things like this are publicly verifiable on the blockchain. Like, blockchain is for many people, it's like a holy grail of nightmare because they see so many things about it. But it's like, it's very easy. It's a token. It's something digitally you own, which you can always look at it and say, who created it? Oh, here is the entry in this database. And the beauty of it, nobody can change the entry in the database. Like, it cannot be changed. Once we as Somnium mint a token and we say, this is the parcel, this is the Somnium parcel or avatar you buy, we cannot go backwards and change everything about this token because it's written on the blockchain.
Everybody else has a copy of it.
Exactly. BBC has a really good explanation video about, like, when you go to the bank, and you exchange money and you pay someone in the shop, like you go to a coffee shop and you buy coffee, and then that shop asks the central thing, the bank asks, do you have enough money? And that bank can say, yes, you have, and it sends back the information, and the coffee owner says, oh, you do have, here is your coffee. But what if the bank, for whatever reason, decides to say, no, you don't have, even though you have? And we had those precedents in the past, right? Where banks just said, look, it's a crisis. We just delete $100,000 from each account because we don't have enough money to pay out. In Ethereum blockchain, it doesn't happen because Ethereum blockchain asks all the nodes about this information. And if 98% of the nodes return, yes, you have enough money, and 2% of the nodes return, no, you don't, those nodes are excluded because everybody looked at them like, yeah, okay. So those nodes are excluded from it. So that is the beauty. And those nodes, there's like, I believe, over 100,000 nodes all over the world. So it's a decentralized system. So it's not like that US government can go and say, okay, now we switch off Ethereum. It doesn't work like that because they're all over the world. So they have to go to each individual node and in each country, and that's not going to happen because countries are, they have their own laws, they have their own rules. They just, it's the fact. So that's the power of, it's like, think about it like BitTorrents. You remember torrents? You were downloading movies from it illegally, right? You remember those days?
Not me,
so
perhaps, yes.
Of course. No, of course not. But think about this, like there was a huge war on BitTorrents. And why BitTorrents were so powerful? Because a lot of users have different copies, and you were downloading like this bit of information from that user and that bit of information from this user. So in the end of the day, you get all the file together, and you can watch the movie the same way. And like they were making wars with BitTorrents, and they lost because you can still download movies and things on BitTorrents. They exist because people run their computers and people download it and people have it peer to peer, whether you want it or not. The only thing they succeeded is that they tried to take down those websites which indexed those BitTorrents from the web, from web. But you can go to Tor browser and just access all those links still, and the technology exists. So it's impossible to take it down.
The thing that you're describing as well, it's called consensus validation. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's called consensus validation. So it's basically allowing everybody to own everything, every record of every transaction that goes on. So as you say, everybody can see everybody else's copy of that transaction that happened, and if most of them, the consensus is that it's a true transaction, then that's what goes into it. Because there's a lot of people that would say there's security issues and things like that, but that's one thing that's really not so much of an issue as far as I know about blockchain and stuff like that, because of this record. Now, I wonder if you can get onto just quickly. I don't want to spend too long on this because it's a little bit of a tangent, but just like the limitations of blockchain, because you have this record which is growing all the time. Okay, everybody owns a portion of this, or the entire record basically, and this record is growing all the time, and it's will eventually cause a problem. This is why the technology is imperfect, at least to my understanding. Can you speak to anything to that?
Right. I mean, if we just speak generally, what you're saying is true for some blockchains. There are different blockchains out there, and there are, I think the only true decentralized one in terms of like the payments is like not payments, but as a blockchain is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And yes, but it's also being addressed. Right? Those things like Ethereum is transforming to Ethereum 2.0, right? And there are changes being made to not hold all those data all the time, but the way how consensus is reached will be slightly different or a lot different. So like, yes, you're right. The gas fees on Ethereum, the money you pay for a transaction have risen dramatically in the recent like month or half a year, because people are using it more, and more people are willing to pay more to forever engrave their whatever they are doing onto the blockchain. And that's why the network has the throughput, and the throughput is X hundred transactions per second, and there is much more demand for that. But again, Ethereum 2.0 is actually building on top of that. There is so many technical solutions. There's like layer 2s. We can dive deep in the rabbit hole of layer 2s, where there is a smaller blockchain on top of the bigger blockchain, and then that smaller blockchain communicates with special like bridges and nodes, and you can always transact and put those tokens from each other. So what I'm trying to say is like there are solutions, and this will not be a problem. It's just a technological challenge which will be solved as any other technological challenge has been solved in the past. But the true power of this is decentralized approach. And then someone said in the chat, like, blockchain is the only thing which will, save our ass from big governments and big powers and companies. That's absolutely true. Like Facebook and Twitter and Google, they probably know what's coming, because and that's why like they will try to monetize hell out of you, of your data, before the end is there, because the decentralized power of everything would just swarm it like a huge wave, and will create new applications of anything. And we as the VR world, if we want to really exist here and we want to give power to people in terms of monetization and economy, what's our possibilities to exist? We can either go fully centralized, and then we'll be fully dependent on anything, on our own decisions and mistakes, on the decisions of governments around us, or we can go and try to be decentralized at least in the economical sense in the first place, and then in other senses, and hope that our company will exist here for another 200 years, which has never been, almost before, because there's always cycles and companies come and they fail and they come and they fail. There's Facebook, there will be something else after the Facebook and things like this. So that's a big paradigm shift of what is possible. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see how people understand it and how people use it in our Somnium.
One thing, just quickly, Sebastian.
No, you go ahead. No.
Just to wrap people's heads around this as well, one thing I remember seeing, like a diagram that really helped me comprehend like a decentralized system, decentralized economy, is if you imagine yourself as a circle, and then all of these companies on the outside of the circle with arrows pointing out from you towards these companies. So basically what that diagram is showing is that you as a person in your digital life online, you create accounts for all of these different companies. You are applying to them to permission to use their services.
Right, yeah.
A decentralized diagram operates in the inverse. So you're still in the center. The companies have arrows pointing from them to you. You carry your own sovereign basically throughout your digital life, and the companies subscribe to you. You're not subscribing to them anymore. They're subscribing to you. This is the way it just helped me sort of comprehend a decentralized economy and digital life really. That I don't know if that helps anybody out at all. It's just something that really helped me out when I was looking into this a while ago.
Yeah, it's a super, super exciting topic. And it's not so easy to understand. We're just at the very beginning out of it.
Which is the beauty of it. We don't need everybody to understand it.
Yeah, I know, I understand. It's fantastic that you're so early.
People told me that VR is fraud in 2016 when I was studying Somnium. Like when I was thinking about Somnium in 2017, they said like, VR what? Decentralized what?
Right.
And now they still they start to understand like VR, okay, it's something you can put on your head, and still it's maybe 10% people understand what VR is truly, maybe even less. And maybe even less than 1% of people understand what blockchain is truly. I would say like 1% understands of what blockchain is, but that's great. People will call things fraud until the moment when they read in the news that the third most expensive art piece in the world is a non-fungible token on blockchain, and they're like, okay, and then they will call it a bubble, and then they will call it, and some is the bubble. Perhaps there is a bubble in the market, and it's always like this. But true new age applications will arise from those bubbles, from those crashes, because the technology doesn't change. Like when I say to our people, like some people ask me, like, what's the price of parcel in Somnium? Oh, that's like $25,000 per parcel and things like this. And I say, who cares if you buy parcel in Somnium for whatever reason and you build something on it and it's useful to you and you can run a business or a club or have some fun there? It doesn't matter to you how much it costs because it has this utility. If it costs $1 or $20,000, it has the same utility. You can build something on it. You can go in VR into it. You can use it. You can monetize it and do some other things with it. What you normally wouldn't be able to do. But because it's unique, because people value these things, because there is scarcity involved, because there is all those economical aspects as well, people do value this thing, and rightfully so. Not everybody will understand it. That's fine. One day will come when they will have to use it. Like it's just inevitable.
That's for sure. So it's a very, very interesting thing to look at. But you know what? Let's simply look at how Somnium actually looks like. And that's actually also one thing that I checked out. It was some kind of concert, and I'm going to show that now. And it was actually one of the most impressive things that I did see in VR for a long time. So let me play that now. And Artur, could you probably tell us what we're seeing here right now?
Right. Let me know when you start playing it.
It's showing right now.
Okay, so this was the concert we've organized of an Israeli singer, Nina Taib. And again, it was in the persistent zone, and people were there, and we ran actually several of those concerts in a span of a week. And this was just one of the ways we wanted to celebrate an ending of the cool event we had in the summer, where there was like more than 100 musicians and DJs and stuff playing different sets on different parcels at the same time, and people were like hanging around in different places in Somnium. And this concert, we just spent some time with the artists and with our team to build this experience, to make it, again, you remember like having the microphone, able to talk to this microphone, having those echoes and seeing all those people. Like you would see fireworks from like 3 kilometers away in the city center. You would see that concert running there. You would hear it from 1 kilometer away, because the sound waves, how we do it is, you can hear this stuff. So I think that what brings the little bit of magic into Somnium. That's why people love it. I mean, we have so much work to do, and we're growing as a team. We're hiring the devs, and we are trying our best. The economy is growing, but already what is today there, it has this magic, and that's why me and everybody else who are in Somnium are coming back. They understand the concept, they understand what is happening there, and they value it. It's hard to explain. Look, it's like bragging, but it's not bragging. I love Somnium, obviously. I respect other VR worlds a lot. Everybody's doing something of their own, which is great. They're good at some really good stuff. We just decided that we don't want to. Our business model will not be user data, like never. We don't need that. Like our business model is proved on the blockchain. Like our turnover of the economy is like more than $5 million within a year.
Okay, congratulations.
And we don't need to mine your data and use your data in order to survive as the company. And you know it because you can see it and you can verify how much money Somnium earns because it's transparently on the blockchain. So that is, I think, a very powerful thing as well. Like the business model of collecting your data is just horrible, and this is not sustainable. And blockchain will destroy that business model. Like all the Facebooks and Twitters, they're going away at some point. The question is when and how fast.
Wow.
So, I don't know. I think I'm like saying too much, but it's hard to compare. Like you want me to do an impossible thing, Sebastian. You want me to explain the blockchain and NFTs in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Go and explain it, Artur. I'm like, all right.
I know.
Where do I start?
It's tough. It's tough to explain. It's really not so simple at all. Not at all. I totally get it. But I would be happy if the people who are watching this right now and who are going to listen to it actually get an idea. What is the big difference between something like Somnium Space, like a social world, which is completely based on blockchain, on this new technology, as compared to something like, for example, Facebook Horizon, which is like super centralized and where it's not about like an economy that can work out of Facebook, but that is completely centralized with Facebook, right? So if people could at least understand this difference from your world as compared to other social worlds, that would be great.
I think for many people who are just joining in, like, and trying it out, it's aesthetics, it's the feel and the vibe, and just how they feel inside the world. So that's like the first thing they will see, because Somnium is free, that you can join. You don't even need to know anything about blockchain to actually enjoy Somnium on a daily basis. Like that's just the fact.
Okay.
But the beauty of it is like you start discovering those things, and then you discover the economy behind it, and you start asking yourself, okay, how do I fit in this economy? Am I a creator? Am I a content creator? We have tons of content creators who didn't have money to buy anything, and then they start selling things and creating things, and then suddenly they had some budget. They were renting parcels, then they were buying them, then they were existing in the economy. And that's the future in general. That's the future of any social VR world, because 2 billion people in the world, when we all will be in VR, will have to have full-time jobs in VR, right? And that economy has to function somehow. And the more you do it centralized way, the more problems you're getting. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I see it evolving in the future. Again, I didn't answer your question, but what can I do?
For me as well, just for me to add to that as well, somebody who is coming into this without knowing anything about the blockchain or anything like that, people like that need to go into this, and they can see it for what it is on the surface level, is another way to communicate, a social way to communicate with people. But the value to me when I first looked into this is the persistence. Okay, so you mentioned this originally, but this is something that's really exciting. I don't know if we sort of glossed over it a little bit, but the actual persistence is the metaverse. This is one of the coolest things, as just somebody that is a VR enthusiast. I'm going to mention my book here, The Memory Engine, because basically I have, within that book, I have these two worlds. I have a world which is governed by a Facebook kind of company, and then I have an alternate world called Refuge, which is a decentralized world. It's Somnium Space, basically, where people can go in and create things and do whatever they want, and it lives on through being a decentralized way. That's how it exists.
It sounds more fun already.
It works on like just volunteers, people that are passionate about that, creating things and stuff like that. I don't get into the economy side of things. But the persistence, the reason I talk about that, and why Ready Player One, the same thing. It's all about persistence, having this huge open universe, really, where everybody is intermingling with one another. And if you're creating something as close to as we can get to that today, then that's fantastic. And I think that's one of the main sort of driving incentives to get just general VR people into this stuff, because no other platform, as far as I know, has that at the moment. Maybe they do, but that's the sort of the VR kind of thing, really. That persistence of having this real, true virtual reality.
Right. Yeah, it's a very hard task to perfect, and it's very hard task to polish. But as I always say, like it's worth trying doing so, and we are at the company thankfully getting stronger, and we will be pursuing that vision as much as we can, and we will succeed, because again, technology is not sleeping, and also the smart game mechanics can take you a long way and give you this persistence as the user, and give you this Ready Player One feel, or actual reality. So I want to address something. I'm reading this comments here, and some people were saying like the power consumption of blockchains is so huge, and it's like, it reminds me, there's discussions about, but to create electricity and create batteries, you have to use some fossil fuels or things like this. And I always say, like, yeah, but to bring your like fuel to your fueling station next to your door, you burn a lot of things, like much more than that. So like, does blockchain consumes electricity and power? Of course it does. Is it much less than other? Everything you do consumes power. Like, you plug in your mobile phone, consumes power. The LED light, one LED light on your microwave consumes, like, all of those microwaves in Germany alone consumes like one coal power plant of power for like 1 week of running. So I'm just saying, like, let's not dive into these things about like, it consumes power, so it's not worth even pursuing this. Of course it is worth, because like 70% of blockchain tech is running on their renewables. So anyways,
also there's proof of stake, right? So it's not consuming so much power.
It's the technology. Anyways, people try to take technology today and extrapolate that into 10 years with the same state of technology, but that doesn't work like that. It never works like that. It's the mistaken, approach. You have to also do the research and development, which is coming and which is happening all the time. So if you put this in, then it's all okay.
Anyways, gaming science teacher asked another question. Is Somnium Space coming to the Quest? And I believe that's a great question, and lots of people will want to know that, because that is actually what people are buying right now, right? The Quest 2.
Right. So we are working on Oculus Quest standalone client. But in the end of 2020, we decided to put forward. We're still a smaller team and we're trying to grow, but so we decided to, instead of releasing the Quest standalone, we decided to make Somnium Web. So for those who don't know what Somnium Web is that every land parcel in Somnium is accessible from any device, from your mobile phone instantly, and with WebXR, and you can go in it with Quest. So if you have a Quest, just go to somniumspace.com/parcel/ any number from 1 to 5,000, go to 2701. This is my parcel. And then you go there, you load it in Oculus browser, and then you just click the VR button and you're in VR in that space, which I built, which exists in a persistent Somnium. It's 1-to-1 to persistent Somnium. So that's what we prioritized, because we realized that people wanted to share their galleries. People wanted to share their experiences instantly. They wanted to do it in any device. They wanted to click and be there. They wanted to meet there. They wanted to talk there. And Somnium Web is the perfect tool for that. So we see huge usage of Somnium Web for more than like in 2 months, 2.5 months. It has been visited more than 35,000 times, and people are using it more and more. So the growth is tremendous, and we see great responses. So we put a lot of effort into that as well, because it's a great gateway to Somnium. But we do plan to release Somnium standalone client, and rather sooner than later. It will depend on how fast we can hire and grow the team. But it's happening this year. And it's a lot of challenges, because we need to do this persistent thing and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of things happening in real time, but it's coming out.
Okay,
We
cool.
just
I just
stuff.
opened my browser, and I just opened Somnium Web, and I just entered partial 3656, and here I am. I can look at this right now on the browser. Everybody sees it. I can walk around, and here I could also meet people right now, right? If somebody else would go there right now to this.
Yeah, if someone else would.
Oh, there's somebody here. Bookie. Hi, Bookie. That's so funny. There's somebody right now there.
Yeah, you can talk to it. You can even like turn on your camera. He will see your face. Your head becomes a TV, and you will see like your webcam there.
Yeah, my webcam is now in use.
Don't scare the person.
But that's cool. So tell me again the parcel number of your parcel. So I'm going to go there right now live.
2701.
2701. Okay.
The most beautiful
Somnium
Somnium
Space Web. Yeah, I really like this concept that you can go there with your browser, and here it is.
With your mobile phone.
With your
Like,
mobile phone. Okay, and here, join as guest. I'm clicking now, and here I am. I'm on your parcel. Now, that is really cool. So let me just walk into it
and
right
that's
now.
why. So if you think about it, like you can have a cardboard and a phone and click the VR button, and you will be there. Or you can go with a Quest and have a kind of a more full VR experience. Directly in the browser, so that's why we prioritize it over the standalone Quest client.
Right, okay,
as much as it's great, but
cool.
We said, okay, this is the
this is really cool. So now I'm looking at some art here, and this is probably crypto art, NFTs.
Yeah,
right?
click. This is art I own. So click on the item, and then you will see it will open
wow.
the information about it, and that's a blockchain
cool.
token. That's
creation
how you know that's
of Somnium Space, Artur. That is cool. Yeah, okay. That is really cool. So everybody who owns a space in Somnium. Oh, what is this? This looks cool.
I'm in now. Where do I need to go?
Cool.
That's really easy. Yeah.
That is really easy. That is really easy. So that is cool. So everyone can who owns some parcel or who rents a parcel can build there. You have a builder there right now, and you can build things like this.
Correct. And this
cool.
builders, we designed it in a way that we wanted to keep it easy for like my 8-year-old son can build there, and he loves doing it. But people who know like software, like the Blender and Unity and stuff, they feel also at home. And because we designed the controls
is it you,
in a
Gary?
certain way.
There was a user right now walking around next to me.
No, that's not me. I'm stuck somewhere else.
This parcel is actually being visited quite a lot. So my parcel has been visited.
That's so cool.
The last 3 weeks, like what? Almost 2,500 times. Just my parcel.
That's cool.
People click like 500 times on the art at least.
Okay, so everyone who's watching this right now, open a browser and go to somniumspace.com/parcel/2701. And I'm going to share that link now. Let's see if that works. Let's see how many people.
Are you showing it on screen or?
Yeah, I'm showing it right now. I'm showing it right now live on my screen. Wait, not now. Let me just share this here. Let's see.
Okay, I'm there.
Flash mob. Okay, I'm coming on my mobile phone, right? I'm coming with you as well. Oh, you're standing in front of the 360 degree art.
Exactly. I'm standing in front of the 360.
There you are. I'm just about to walk in front of you.
Oh, hello.
That is my favorite art.
Wow, there's so many people now. No, really, that's so simple that you can simply like give people a URL, and yeah, you can go there
Okay, I'm coming.
There's another one. That's amazing.
It's really quick as well to get in. It's quite
Yeah, really.
easy to
That's
do.
cool.
So, and you can transition to VR through the web then?
Correct. You can,
Yeah.
if you have a
Okay,
VR headset
cool.
connected, you just click VR button and you are fully in VR.
Yeah,
It's WebEx
okay,
hard.
cool.
That is cool.
We actually are bringing AR into this play as well, so you'll be able to place your parcel on your table.
Oh,
soon.
look, there's so many
Have it-
people right now.
Oh, there are a lot of people. That's
That
true.
is so
Hello.
funny. Hello
Oh.
there. And
Be
actually,
nice to my gallery, please.
actually, we could talk with them right now if I would
Yeah, of
activate
course.
my
Just turn on your
microphone, right?
and you will be able to talk. Exactly.
Oh, that's so cool. And if I turn on my webcam, then yeah, they could already see me, right? But the
Exactly.
thing is,
They will be able to see you.
the thing is that that's so funny. There's more and more people going to your parcel right now. I love it.
This is no good for the audio podcast, Sebastian.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. This is not good for the, but it's so fun. People who are
is.
listening to the audio podcast right now, they have to watch the video.
The video.
There's
Yeah.
so many avatars right now in that place, and there are more and more coming. Oh, that's so funny.
And I'm running it on my mobile phone with
Yeah.
0 lags.
And
With
it
zero
looks
lags.
it looks very fluid. Like the frame rate
are.
looks totally
Look at
fine.
this.
And we can hold in Somnium Web we can hold 100 people in one instance with voice and video.
Oh, that's really
So-
cool. That is really
We all,
cool.
we all ought to put on our VR headsets right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can really do a
Wow.
flash mob. Now that was really simple, right? To get people into the same VR spot.
That's why we prioritize this over
Okay.
over Quest standalone, because we saw that this is really needed. People want to share their creations instantly.
Right.
That was
Oh.
very important for us to deliver. So we
Man,
said,
that is kind of magical. So basically, what I could do, I could build my MRTV headquarter, right? I could do a show from my VR headquarter, and I could simply share that link, that Somnium Web link,
Yeah.
with the stream, and then
Yeah.
they could totally drop by with their browser,
Exactly.
with their mobile phone,
Exactly.
or with their Quest.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
On
I
their
like it.
parcel, on their creation. So you could have
This is
MRTV
cool.
headquarters on your parcel and actually host people there and let them enjoy
Oh,
it. Like
look! There's somebody who has turned on their webcam, and I can see him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so funny. Hello
Oh, wow,
there.
Yeah, hello.
Oh my God, this is amazing. So I can
Let me
see,
go there.
and he has hello there. Yeah, and he's winking right now. So
He's waving.
For all the people who are now
Wow.
on the audio podcast, this is pretty amazing. You have to look this up. So there's one user, he's standing in front of me right now. He has turned on his webcam, and he has a big television now on his head, and on this television you can see his webcam. Oh my God, what an amazing idea is this. I am totally shocked right now how amazing this is.
I'm coming. I want to watch. I now want to see that person, so I'm coming there. Wait, that person, please don't go anywhere. I'm coming.
If we
Okay,
switch
I-
on our webcams on here, it will override. We won't be able
Let's
to.
do it. Let's do it. Let's
I
switch
don't
on.
think it will go on Skype then, will it? That's the problem.
I think
No,
it's-
it won't go on Skype. It's okay. Ah, I see the person.
It's
Cool.
but my webcam is taken by Skype right now. So I don't
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
There
my
it is. Everyone's
God,
looking at it.
this is amazing.
By the way, thank you everyone for coming on my parcel, because now you put me in the rankings up, and I can brag about it among Somnium community that I have one of the most visited parcels in the in Somnium.
Oh my God. And for all the people who are watching this right now, this flash mob was in no way planned.
True,
I just tried it now because you said somniumspaces.com parcel. This was not staged or something. This is spontaneous. And this is pretty amazing. Wow.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you for coming. By the way, I mean, I used this gallery. This is one main gallery which I put my crypto art in. So all the blockchain tokens of art pieces I own, I put in, not all, but majority, because I have another gallery as well. But here, this is my collection. This is my visual representation of my blockchain collection, and you can verify that I'm the true owner. If you click on one of those items, it will open you a pop-up, and if you open it in the browser, it takes you to a decentralized exchange where you can verify the token information about this. So you can truly see that I am the owner
Okay,
in
I
a
click
decentralized
yes.
way, and that's it. Like, and how much I paid for it. You can see everything.
Wow. So I'm looking at a piece of art right now, and I click on it right now, and it says extrusion. And now I can
extrusion. I know, yeah.
I can close and I can open in browser, and then I can have a closer look
Yeah.
at it. Okay, you know what? This is amazing. And I think even if nobody understands what we talked about in the last hour with the whole blockchain thing, because I believe that still a lot of people don't get it. It's so new.
Sure.
But this year, what we're looking at right now, that you share a link, you are in this space together with other people. You can walk around. You can have the webcam. You can see there other people's faces walking around, and it's so simple. You can look at this art, and you can have this.
Come here on the balcony. I will show you something. Come here, like there are two people on the balcony standing. Like
Yeah,
I'm
that's
walking
me.
here. I want to show you some
where's the
art
balcony?
here. I'm standing and watching the art.
I go up or what? Where do I go?
I'm next to you now, yeah.
Here. Go to this ramp and come here. There's an art piece with a landscape, and that is an amazing story because I own this piece. There's one artist. She actually drew this Somnium landscape. This is Somnium done with acrylic thing. And what came with this blockchain item? So I own the original blockchain, but I also own the physical one. So like it's a double thing, but it's a Somnium landscape. It's a real Somnium landscape in the mountain in Somnium and the floating island there.
Okay, nice.
Done by real artists, which is pretty cool. I love this. And I love how all people are now gathered around.
There's so many people coming there now. Oh my God, this is so funny. The first flash mob live here in Somnium Space.
Wow.
This is really great. I mean, really, this is just great that you can simply like share this URL and then people are just there. And if this also just works like this in your Quest, okay, all right.
It does exactly. I mean, I run this even on Smart TV, so it exactly works like this in a Quest. You press the VR button and you are fully in VR.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I need to walk up the ramp now. Let's see what happens. And I wish that more people could use that webcam functionality. Please, click on the please more people who are watching this right now. Please click.
Right, there's a webcam. Activate your webcam.
Please click on the top right.
Let's crush the system. Let's beta test the crush the system.
We need to log in as well.
But let's do it. I want to see.
So we can see everybody's name. That's what we need.
Right, exactly. Wow, I think you have made lots of fans in today's show, Artur, for this Somnium Space.
At least for my gallery. Thank you.
Yeah, but
I'm truly honored.
It's really cool, those pieces of art.
Webcam. Wait, I'm coming. Yes, hello. Oh, nice. Nice.
These pieces of art absolutely look cool, right? And wow, I need to check this out in VR later.
Yeah, some of the art pieces are incredible.
Oh yeah, there's some people who put on the
webcam.
There's more webcam.
Yeah, more webcam.
Hello there.
Yes.
Oh,
this is so cool.
Hey, Sebastian, this is the way how you can meet and actually get to know your viewers. Because,
yeah, absolutely.
You know how people look, how they watch your videos.
Oh man,
hello.
I really love the thing with the webcam.
this is cool.
It's so cool.
Oh, I see someone else. Wait, hello, sir.
Here. Hello there. Don't walk away. I want to show you.
Okay, I think for people who are listening to this podcast, they're like, "What?
Yeah, what is going on?"
Yeah, just you need to watch the live stream.
You have to watch this live stream.
Yeah, it's funny.
This is incredible. Wow. Yep, let's go back to normal podcast mode. Wow. Really cool. I wonder what the people say who are watching this right now in our chat. They must also think it's cool, right? Yeah, I think so. Cool. Amazing. Yeah. So somebody says could not log in with a web browser with a created account. I just click on log in as a guest, right? That is the easiest way.
Guest, exactly.
Join as guest, and then you're there. Wow. Cool. That was really cool. That was really spontaneous. And wow, this has so much future. This has so much potential. So, and we've already been talking now for such a long time. We've been talking we're at 2 hours and 38 minutes. Okay, this flew by again. So I can just say for all the people who are listening to this, who are watching this, please try it out. I'm going to leave the link to your parcel, Artur. I'm going to leave it down in the description of this video, so people can simply check it out by simply clicking on it. They don't even have to download Somnium for Steam VR, but of course, they should do it, right? They should try it out themselves.
I mean, they can go on website and download the client and try it. Again, it's free. If they join our Discord, because that's the place to be, I think. Sorry for a shameless plug.
You can do it. It's fine.
That's the place to be. It's like discord.gg/Somnium Space, and just come there. We have an amazing community, supportive community. Any question, anything you can about the blockchain, about VR, just come in, have a chat with us, and take it from there.
Right. Wow. Gary, do you have any more questions for Artur?
No, not really. The only thing I would say is if we got bogged down in the blockchain stuff earlier on and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about all of that. Just go into Somnium and enjoy it for what it is on a surface level.
Go to the web
That's
parcel
fine.
and just have fun. Like
exactly. Yeah.
It's like look at the art and enjoy the art if you like it. Don't comment some bad things if you don't like it. I mean, just do whatever you like. To be honest, it's we are not doing it. We have a growing community, and it's just fun to be together. And actually, we have a disco night which is running already for half an hour. So I'm now going to flex some muscles in Somnium in VR. But yeah, thanks for having me. It was super fun.
It was super fun
to discuss Apple.
Yeah,
and HTC.
You're right. Like always, a big fun. And Gary, I think what you said is just exactly right. We got totally into this whole blockchain stuff, which might be too far away for lots of people, but just going there, having fun, and just now having this spontaneous meeting by simply clicking on a link. That is really magical. And I think that has so much potential. And Artur, I wish you all the best for Somnium Space. I think it's going to go amazing places. And yeah, you're always welcome here and tell us more about what's going on. And for all the people out there, I can just tell you, check out Somnium. I'm going to put the link to Artur's parcel down into the description of this video.
Next time, you have to promise me, because to truly understand something, I should have come from within VR. I mean, I can still do it, but like that thing, if people see it, I think they
will see it. You know
what?
What? Let's do one thing. Once I have this Vive Facial thing, I bought the Vive Facial Tracker, right?
Yep.
Once I got it, and once you have implemented it on Somnium Space, I'm going to put on that Vive Pro with that facial thing. You hopefully going to help me make an avatar that looks like me. And then we're going to have another.
Nothing looks so handsome as you, but okay.
I didn't want to say that, but if you say it, so then once that is happening, we're going to meet in Somnium Space, and we're going to have another interview about that. Okay? Live.
Let's do it live.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to happen.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Artur, for being here, and Gary, of course. Thank you so much for everyone who watched this and watch and listen to this really long podcast. Really exciting today with that live flash mob in VR in Somnium Space just by sharing a link. Again, this was not planned. It was totally spontaneous and it worked so cool. Wow. I'm still excited about it. Thank you so much.
Let me do your job, Sebastian. Subscribe, ring the bell button, do all this Patreon stuff. Come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, right. Thank you for doing that, exactly. So I don't need to say it anymore. But one thing I still have to say, if you enjoy this podcast, please open the podcast app on your iPhone or iPad right now, find the Next Dimension podcast, and do leave us a good review. All right.
5 stars. OMG.
5-star review. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for watching and listening to it. And we're going to see each other next week for the next episode. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, perfect. We're still live here for a moment. We're still online. And I simply want to ask you, Artur, what do you think about today's podcast?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I love discussing those things, and I think it always helps to kind of like put your thoughts into perspective, because when you're thinking it you're alone or reading some stuff, but when you're discussing it like this with a cool group of people, it's just cool. It's amazing. I love it.
Wow, I love that spontaneous meeting right now. that was so cool, right, Gary?
It's funny. I mean, I must say.
Yeah, that was cool. Also on the show, I liked as well, because the most interesting parts of any podcast that I listen to are the parts where people don't necessarily agree on every topic. And I love the part about Apple, because I think it makes for a good discussion and we get a lot of different viewpoints. And I thought that was great too. So yeah, I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right. Absolutely. Perfect. And for Somnium Space, I think really we actually really did get deep into the whole thing with the blockchain, with proof of work, Ether. It's like, wow, it's not easy to digest, right? And some people probably thought like, well, what is that? I don't want it. Yeah, go away with that. I don't want that. But I think like just meeting there and seeing people with a webcam in that TV monitor, okay,
Yeah.
that is just golden.
Easy enough to understand that, right?
That is just amazing.
It was fun, really. I must say, it was. We had events already with 70 people. It was crypto art events where artists were talking, and we this. So it was a lot of people. It wasn't the first time I saw a lot of people there, but the true, like what I found interesting to me, is that I've never, like, it is hard, especially for you, right, Sebastian? It's hard to know who your viewers are because you don't see their faces. Now I was suddenly able to see like 10 different people and kind of like make this slice picture of who your viewers are, at least from what I've seen. And that was kind of magical. I mean,
It's
I
cool.
must say this is cool.
This
Like
was-
it is an interesting experience. I didn't expect that it would be so interesting.
And that in VR as well would be even better because
wow.
you'd see,
Yeah.
it'd be bigger and you'd see them. And it sort of made me wish like we could just sort of spontaneously jump into VR at that moment, honestly. But
Exactly.
it's not manageable. But yeah, that would be great. We should
But
we'll
now,
organise that.
now we know that, right? Now we know we can tick the quest and we can just go to the browser, right? We input this thing, and then next time we're there.
Honestly, Sebastian, you have the parcel. If you build this MRTV
right. I want to
headquarters,
do it.
You could end every live stream with adult beverage and hanging out with people there, like no big business, because it's the instant gratification. Anyone on the couch from mobile phone can just come in there and have some fun. I don't know. I'm just saying that this is totally.
It's really cool that it's so approachable with this website. I love it. So I build something. I have the URL. I give it to people, and that's it. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's wrap this up. We've been online for such a long time. Thanks again for everyone who's still watching it. Don't forget to hit on the thumbs up if you enjoyed this. I think this was a very cool podcast episode. So thanks a lot again to Artur and Gary. And looking forward to see everyone in the next stream. Bye-bye.
Bye.